And we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Fresh Air Podcast. I'm here, Rollo Tomassi, the legend.
Yes.
No girls, thank God. We're going to be talking about a couple things, and there's no intro music.
This is Thursdays are actually our Access Vegas day, so it's like Access Vegas Fresh Fit today. And look at this fucking
I like it, man. We are right by the strip, guys.
From Red One Studios, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for letting us use your studio to do this show. This is my third stream of the day. We've been grinding, guys. As you guys know, I did a gym stream earlier today. Jake Shields was there. He pulled up in the middle of workout. I think I might do a gym stream with Rollo tomorrow.
Powerhouse.
Maybe at Powerhouse Gym. Yeah. It's going to be in the morning, so I'm going to have to, make sure I get some sleep. I only slept like 3 or 4 hours last night, by the way, guys.
You're making this announcement and people will show up at 9 o'clock just to be there at the just to see. I know they're here somewhere.
Yeah. So we did the gym IRL, and then I just got done doing the Hodge twins, as you guys saw earlier. Great discussion with them, hilarious. Went for like 2.5 hours, pretty much, just making jokes, having a good time. We talked about their come up, former jobs, girlfriends, funny stories, and then we also talked about what was the other thing we discussed? The big thing. Oh, we discussed politics, of course. Yeah. And then now I'm here with the legend himself, Rollo Tomassi. Leave the best for last.
Dude, finally.
Happy to be here. And
I've been wanting to get you in here for a very long time.
And it's good because now we don't have to rush, because you guys know me and Rollo can go on forever, right? So I didn't want to rush it. Want to give you guys that RP meat that you guys like to see all the time. So, and we got like 2 main topics, which I know are going to bleed out into other things. But
for sure.
Rollo, I know who you are, but for the people that might be new and might not know who you are, can you introduce yourself?
I'm the author of The Rational Male, 5-book series. Thank you very much. I'm pretty sure everybody knows who I am. But I am also the co-host of Access Vegas with Mike Sartain. And I've been doing that for, we're coming up on 2 years in October.
Damn, time flies.
Yeah, right. Decided we were going to, Miguel Munoz and I decided we were going from dollar cost crypto, we were going to do something here in Vegas about this time 2 years ago. And this is where we're at, man. We've come a very long way in a very short time.
There are so many people here in Vegas, dude.
I know.
You're here. Mm-hmm. Dan Bilzerian's here. Mm-hmm. Hodge twins, Jake Shields, Mike Sartain, obviously.
Right.
The crypto guys are here. Mm-hmm. Like, dude, it's just wild. Well,
I tell you what's funny is like, right around August.
Are there any other big YouTubers I missed that are here in Vegas?
There are some others, but they're not in our niches. That's all. Like, there's a lot of other guys. Like, there's like social groups here. They call it Taco Tuesdays. Like on Tuesdays, everybody will get together. It doesn't matter what your niche is, and you just get together.
I mean, like YouTubers.
But yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like influencers, YouTubers. I'm trying to think who else is around. I mean, there's John Orlando and the Sports Junkies and stuff like that. Like sports things. There's a lot of different varieties of podcasts out here. As far as I know, we're probably the number one in our niche right now. Nobody else is doing like Redpill content.
Oh yeah, in Vegas, yeah.
And then like I said, we decided we wanted to come out and I was actually for a while I was thinking about maybe
ours used to be out here, but
yeah. Well, I'll tell you what's funny is Owen Cook has been making the rounds again in Los Angeles. I just saw him in June and hung out with him for a little bit. I know Mike talks to him quite a bit, so it's a possibility he might be coming out to Vegas, making some appearances.
Yeah, he's very sporadic, man. Like I don't know,
he does his own thing.
Yeah, like he just he does content here or there, and I don't see him for months, and he comes back.
Yeah. And I'm now officially partnered with MOA, which is Men of Action, which is Mike's group. My group is now called Reignite, and we are specifically talking to guys who are 45 to 65 years old, which is the prime demographic for
you old motherfuckers.
Self-deletion.
Head of Rollo.
Well, the first you got to figure out, guys are like 3.5 to 4 times as likely to kill themselves, and it's always around that time because it's when they are they go through a divorce. Which, by the way, according to Jim Sexton, a divorce attorney, as we know. You're 8 times more likely to off yourself after guys are anyways after a divorce. And the average age of the first divorce is 43, 44.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that makes sense. We definitely saw my partner, Joe Marin, and I decided, we said, we really need to, this is an underserved demographic. So for sure, working with them. And so now we're actually, I'm doing something tangible. Right. Everybody wants to say that the red pill doesn't do anything. All we do is just sit here and bullshit and talk and complain and all this other stuff. And it's like, when we do something tangible, nobody says shit.
Yeah.
When we do something where we do outreach and we're actually doing these, starting communities where we have, Zoom calls, we have events that we go to, we have activities and things like, I want to start getting these guys out and doing things like going to a gun range or going deep sea fishing or going golf or whatever it is, like something, because men communicate better when they have they have a project, or they have something that they can unite over, something they can share, like a shared like problem to solve or a shared interest. And one of the things I picked out when I was deciding to do this group is like, female therapy doesn't work for men. It's everybody wants to think of, oh, men, mental health and all this stuff. It's not like the sit in a fucking couch and talk about your feelings is bullshit. Guys have communications when they're actually doing things. And so we're adding that to the program as well, so that guys can like get together, and it's not just going out to Zouk or the strip clubs or something like that. You can go, there's a place here in Vegas, I want to go do this, where you can go drive a tank and you can go shoot automatic weapons if you want to, or you can go to the track that's down in South Vegas and just drive fast cars. Whatever it is, whatever your thing is, guys tend to have conversations and tend to make, friends, and they tend to have, form networks and tribes as a result of some sort of shared interest or some sort of shared project that they're working on. And so that's going to be integral to what we're doing with Reignite as well. But I'm now officially partnered with MOA, and that's going to be my new thing, and it's outreach, and it's actually something concrete and something tangible.
Nice.
So, and then I'm also
I like that you're going for that demographic too.
Yeah.
I like that you're going after that 45 to 60 demographic, because a lot of guys feel isolated at that point. Like, am I too old? Who am I going to find?
Can I get back into the game?
Yeah.
It's very confusing for them.
Oh man.
When they come out of, like, say they've been in a 20-year marriage and they've been in a sexless marriage, they get out of it, and now suddenly they're like,
could you imagine,
like stranger in a strange land?
Could you imagine you get married in the year fucking 2000 when Britney Spears was sane?
Yes.
And then you come back here in 2024 and she's dancing with knives and she's fucking crazy, and now you're single and you're trying to talk to a chick at the bar in 2024. Versus in 2000, you were like, you could do that. Roosh said this. I agree with him so much on this one thing that he said. He said that the cell phone and bottle service killed night game. Yeah. And I, that came back to me because we had a yacht party like a couple weeks ago. And, we had like a crazy ratio, like, as much as the haters want to say there was no girls, bro. It was like 7-to-1 ratio, right? The boat was so fucking big, you just couldn't see everything, right? It was so bad. One of the girls I was supposed to meet up with, I thought she didn't show up to the party. And she was like, I was on the yacht the whole time. I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, you're lying. And she sent me a picture and she was on the yacht. I was like, oh shit. We were live streaming, so I missed it, but there were so many girls there. But I digress. The main point here is that we went to the club after. We went to Van Dome, Fresh's favorite fucking place. But yeah. When we had the guys there, so I was like, you know what? I'll fucking go. I haven't been to a club in a very long time. And I go in there and I'm like, if you don't have a section, dude, you're fucked. Like, you don't have a section, with the bottle service or whatever. And it's like the girls, like, all they care about is like getting into a section. Like, that's what they're there for. Right. Prestige. Yeah. And then the girls that are in a section, they're on their phones. So it's like, people don't even go to the nightclub or the bar anymore to like actually socialize. They go there.
They're not there in the moment. They're there to make for content.
That's what it is. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I genuinely do believe in it. Then when this happened, it reminded me, because like, it's hilarious. We're sitting there waiting, right? And like a bunch of girls like just randomly walk in. And we brought like 30 girls with us too. They just walked in, no problem. We had to obviously go through and pay and shit like that. And I'm just like, oh, look, these useless bimbos get in and we got to pay. Look at this shit. But and then we walked in and reaffirmed like that quote just hit me immediately. Like, bottle service and the cell phone absolutely destroyed nightlife. So you take a guy, like you said, trying to get back in the game. Right. Year 2000, he's getting fucking married with TRL still going on and MTV and Real World and, wearing Gap jeans and shit like that. Right. And the next thing you know, 2024,
you're frozen out of you're unfrozen from cryo freeze, and now you come out.
You walk into a nightclub now and you're like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. Because in the early 2000s, this is like no one had smartphones like this. Like,
a lot of these guys that we're working with right now, they don't know that like getting a girl's phone number is like effectively meaningless. It's like you got to follow on Instagram, right? Well, what's Instagram? Well, they know what Instagram is because like maybe their kids have it or something like that. But the thing is they don't know how to like optimize their pictures on there. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what works best for them. And
Mystery used to teach that, like a number close was good.
Number close was a number close was a metric of success back in the mid 2000s, right? And now it's basically meaningless because it's all follow me on Instagram. Let me see if you're cool enough for me to want to hang out with you. Do you have cool friends? Do you have a little dog? Where are you? Are you somebody that I would want to actually, hang out with? And it's almost like you're professional. It's almost like having a LinkedIn for like your personal life or your resume of you kind of thing.
And even the Instagram is like you almost have to, you have to get like multiple bases of contact. Like I've told guys before, like you don't not only need to get a number, you need to get an Instagram. And you damn near need to frame a date when you meet her right then and there,
Right.
because like women are so fucking flaky in 2024 because they just have too many options, right? Like girls like actually used to respect and admire male attention in the early 2000s, but like now it's like it's cheap, so like they don't care. So like the other thing too, I think guys need to understand, especially for the older guys, 45, 60, like that are in your group, like when you text girls now on iPhones, there's this feature where if it's like not a recognized number or whatever, or they haven't had communication, a lot of times it'll just go like into a random spam box and she might never check it.
Yeah.
So
it'll go into your hidden messages or something like that. And unless you're actually actively looking at those things, it's not going to make any difference.
And I think another thing a lot of like older guys need to see, like 45 to 60, is like a lot of them might have a daughter. Like just take a look at your daughter's phone. She might be fucking 18, 17, whatever. Just look at her phone. You're going to see 150 missed calls, 300 text messages, 1,000 emails. Like, just unheard of levels of attention. Yeah, all unread. Like women today get unheard of levels of attention, and I think like it's overwhelming for guys to get in the game. And then they, like because whenever I've talked to like older guys that like just getting back in, the biggest thing they have is like frustration. Like, what the fuck? Like women play a lot of games nowadays. I'm like, dude, do you know how many options like the average girl has? And they have no fucking clue.
Yeah. I'll tell you a funny story. What was kind of like the germ of the idea for this. Have you ever seen, I think it's on like Amazon Prime, but it's a show called Tulsa King, and it has Sylvester Stallone is in it. Okay. And without giving you too many spoilers here, Sylvester Stallone plays like a mobster. He was like in the mafia, and he goes to jail 25 years ago for a crime he didn't commit. He took the fall for somebody else in the mob. Right?
When was the movie set? What time?
Well, it's funny. It's when it's modern day. And so he went to jail 25 years ago. Okay. And the start of the series is when he's finally getting out here into the 2024, right? Or 2022.
So he went in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, exactly. So 25 years ago, right? He comes out and he still thinks everything is like things are 25 years ago. Yeah. And it's interesting because like all of the things that like it sort of reminds you of all the shit that we
try to go to Radio Shack.
We take it for granted. Yeah, exactly. Like, what's a beeper? Right. Exactly. So he's coming out. And the mafia is afraid he's going to take over like the New York thing. So they keep him in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And now he basically takes over Tulsa. And the first thing he does is he goes to like a weed dispensary in Tulsa, and he thinks it's still illegal. So he thinks it's like this backroom kind of like operation. He goes, so he's like punching guys and like taking over things. He's like, no, sir, it's legal now. You don't have to worry about anybody. He's like, anybody can come in and buy. Yes, anybody can. Right.
Oh, man.
And so he takes over sort of the drug trade of Tulsa, but it's all legal drugs, right?
Well, even the drug trade has changed significantly.
And so what was funny to me is he plays a character who is like 76 or 70, which is exactly how old Sylvester Stallone is right now, right? Yeah. And so the humor in the show is he went away for 25 years, and now he's sort of like thawed out of cryo freeze kind of thing. And I thought about this and I go, that's kind of like a lot of guys when they go and they've been married I've been married for 28 years, right? I'm in the red pill space enough to know, what's
you're around
going on
all the time. So you know what the fuck's going on.
I've worked in casino marketing. I've been wine and spirits. I'm doing this stuff with Mike and everything like that. But the thing that's funny to me is like the guys that we have that have already joined this group right now, they're like Tulsa King. Like they don't know like that what Instagram is. They don't know like how the sexual marketplace has changed, because when they got married 25 years ago, it was a global sexual marketplace or a local sexual marketplace. They come into 2024 and it's globalized. We talk about this all the time. You guys talk about it on your show all the time. It's like you have women
genuinely believe that is the root cause.
They can get Drake to get him on a yacht somewhere in Miami, right? And it's not even. I think people need. I think
the global sexual marketplace is literally one of the biggest precipitators of like the failure of relationships in modern day society.
Yeah, because, I was going to say because it's choice paradox is what it is. And like I remember when you guys somebody put Fresh on the spot and said like, how many girls do you think at colleges or something like that are actually getting flown out to to yacht parties in Miami? And he said something like 30%, which was like crazy. But the thing is what he should have said is it doesn't matter what the percentage is. It matters what the perception is. So if one of these girls sees one single girl that gets flown out, that's all that it matters to affect the sexual marketplace for that girl, because I'm hotter than that bitch and she got flown out. Yeah. Fuck, that means that I'm at least as valuable as that. And I don't want to have anything to do with everybody that's in my local sexual marketplace. Yeah. If the possibility exists that I could get flown out to a yacht party by somebody who's rich and famous and has Lamborghini.
And this is why I get so mad when guys try to say, and women too, like, oh, that's just Miami girls or whatever the fuck. And I'm like, look, You fucking idiots.
We're starting to get that now too here in Vegas.
Yeah, right. They're telling you that too, right? These are just Vegas girls. I think men need to understand, and this is a very uncomfortable reality that we need to just put out there. A girl that's mildly attractive or very attractive, there's a high likelihood that she's doing something that monetizes off of her beauty, right? I said something.
It's almost impossible not to now.
Yeah.
Even indirectly, it's almost possible not to.
I would say, and I want to get your take on this because I don't think I've told you this before. I would say 1 in 5 women in today's day and age has done some type of sex work in her lifetime.
20%.
20%. 1 in 5. I think that's my conservative thing. Now, if we're going to take a girl that's hot, that's like 7, 8, right? That's like can actually make money. She can go on a runway. She can, you know, model clothing, whatever it is, or she's hot. I would argue better than 50% of those girls have made money doing some type of sex work.
And why wouldn't they? Right?
And when I say sex work, that means OnlyFans. That means escorting. That means sugar babying. That means finessing dudes out of money and selling the allure of sex. Like any of this stuff, I would argue 50% of girls have participated in some form of casual sex work that are hot. And then 1 in 5, I think, of regular chicks. And then the other thing too, I don't think people understand is like, they'll sit there and say, oh, well, that's just Miami girls or that's just Vegas girls. Well, stupid fuck. Where do you think these girls come from? You think they're from Vegas? You think they're from Miami? No, they fucking come here from their localized area and they fucking come here for opportunity. And hot girls can make it really far in major cities. That's why when you go to major cities, why do you see so many hot girls? I'll tell you why. Because that's where the higher status men are.
That's right.
And that's where they want to be.
There used to be this concept, and I think it was Tom Likas who actually came up with this, was that we should have regional ratings for girls. Like a girl who's like an 8 or a 9 in like Butte, Montana is like a 6 or a 7 in Vegas kind of thing. You know? And I think the principle is sound in that like the most beautiful women from like those localized areas, just sort of like the Midwest or something like that, they will congregate in Vegas, in New York, Los Angeles, Miami, you know, Dallas, wherever. They either move here
or at least they come and visit here. So, and then that's where they do their dirt. And I don't think men like understand this shit. They think, no, these girls are good. She's from Idaho. Shut up, dumbass. She's coming here to be the hoe. Like that's what it is. You know, like she's coming from these places.
Unless she's wearing that Amish outfit with the, you know, the collar around something.
And like another thing too, because there's been like this explosion of like sorority girls dancing on TikTok for like Kamala Harris or whatever. And they're in sports. Like that's another big thing too. Like the whole college experience, like let me just demystify this for you fucking guys. Like college is a socially acceptable way to spend 4 years doing drugs and having sex. That's what it is. I was in college, and thankfully for me, like I was an athlete, so like kept me away from a lot of stupid shit. But all the girls there were fucking sluts. They were all like 80% were sexually active, if not more, right? And then you talk about like sorority girls. Let me tell you guys something about sororities and fraternities. Sorority. Yeah, like when you're in a sorority or fraternity, what I just said, like an acceptable way to spend 4 years doing it, even more so. Like, guys, you get a lot of free time in college, especially if you're like majoring in something stupid. Like, let's just be honest here. And they're just partying and fucking drinking, especially as undergrads. Like they're just partying, drinking. Every fucking day. That's why so many people flunk out for being, you know, drunks. And then if your girl like went to a big school, right, a big sports school or like a big party school or whatever, big state school, 10, 20,000, you know, up to 50,000 kids. Like, bro, like these girls are out here being hoes, man. And like girls, and then another thing too, a majority of like college enrollees now are women. A majority are women now. Why is that? Ask yourself, why is it? Is it like because women are smarter and they want to go to school or whatever? No, it's because women tend to be more spontaneous and adventurous and like want to get experiences. So like they want to go away from home. And
I think a lot of that has to, I think one of the reasons why you see more women in the workplace now, more women in college, more women in making more money these days is simply because they've been sold this bill of goods that says you can't trust any guys. Guys are inherently untrustworthy because you can't trust a guy for your long-term security. And to their defense, a lot of men are bums. Yeah, they are. Exactly. I know. I just want to point that. And there's both sides are it's like this self-defeating like negative feedback loop. It just keeps coming back all the time. And so what happens is like if women are taught from a very early age that they can't trust men for their long-term security, they have to go do and generate it for themselves. So that's why you get like, sort of, I'm an alpha female, you know, that's why you get women who want to go to college, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with wanting to go to college, but I'm just saying that the thing is you should ask yourself, why am I doing this? Is it because I have some inherent fear that I'm going to not be able to take care of myself because I can't trust no man? Either maybe they have an absent father or no father at all, or they have a sort of a weak father. And then you've got the idea that if you can't trust men for your long-term security, the only person you can trust is yourself. And so whenever I see some of these, I see some women say, like, how do I find, like, I'm 35 years old, Rollo, how do I find a guy? Where are the good guys at? Right. And I'm like, well, they're back in your 20s where you left them. But the thing is that you,
so true.
The problem is you become the man you wanted to marry. And by the way, that's not a Rollo Tomassi quote. That's a Gloria Steinem quote from 1970s. By the way,
I wish I had the sound effect.
There used to be this. Yes, it was.
Chat.
It was. Some women are becoming the men that they wanted to marry, and now here we are in 2024, and we're still saying the same thing.
And for you,
like, I've been on your show, and I have listened to 19-year-old girls say, repeat and parrot back lines I know came from Gloria Steinem, Betty Friedan, and like late 70s militant feminists.
And for those that are wondering, Gloria Steinem is like the fucking spear, like tip of the spear when it comes to feminism. She was
back in the day. She was our bodies, ourselves, and feminine mystique.
The 70s.
Yeah, this late 60s, early 70s. And you're still to this day. I always was wondering, and I've tried this on a couple of occasions where I'm talking to women who are between like 19 and say 20, 24, so somewhere around there. And I'm like, where did you hear that? Where did you hear that particular quote? They couldn't tell you. Maybe they heard it from their mom.
That's
maybe they heard
it
from a Beyonce song. I don't know. But the thing is those memes from the late 60s and early 70s keep getting repeated and keep getting recycled. And here we are in the almost 24 years into the 21st century, and we're still using that vernacular. I'm always curious, like, where, and it's like every generation, Zoomers did it, millennials did it, even Gen Xers, they're still repeating the same shit. And it's like, when are we going to start questioning these things? And it's really what your ideological epistemology is. It's like, how did you come to believe what you believe?
Yeah.
And most people couldn't tell you how they developed their belief sets. And I'm talking about this in terms of intersectional dynamics. You could put a religion and politics and everything else, but most people can't tell you how they came to believe what they believed. Right.
Well, let me tell you this, because as you know, like, I've been, experimenting with covering politics and stuff. It's something that's always intrigued me, but I haven't really talked about it. And I will tell you, Rollo, that it starts with the intersectional dynamics. I would argue that feminism was the tip of the spear to all the degeneracy and all the like fucked up stuff in society going on right now, whether it's the alphabet community, it's this, the communist socialist values, a lot of, Democrats that we got.
It's no coincidence that Seneca Falls was the Seneca Falls Convention of 1849, which is really where you kind of peg the beginning of modern day feminism. It's where the suffragettes started, right? Yeah. Seneca Falls, I think it was New York or something like that. And that's when they had sort of like the list of grievances and everything. And from that point on, right up until August 1920, when the 19th Amendment was ratified, you had that for about 70 years of the suffragettes and everything else that was going on at that time. And it's no coincidence that it was at the same time that Karl Marx and the communists came up right about that time as well.
Yeah.
So
every negative
they had a very common core.
Every negative ism, bro. Yeah. Every single one of these isms that's like caused societal decay started with feminism. I would argue feminism was the Trojan horse that allowed all the other problems to come in with it, because people think, oh yeah, this innocent equality, blah blah blah. But
I agree with that, problems. But I think it's incomplete. I think you're going to have to also add in, like, I've said this on several different occasions when people ask me about feminism. I don't think there are waves of feminism. I think there's only one. I agree feminism.
Yeah, this whole fourth wave shit is bullshit.
Well, they want to say, well, the suffragettes were good. No, the suffragettes were treated as terrorists in the UK and the United States. They planned bombings. They planned political assassinations. They bombed police precincts. They're very, very racist in the very beginning of it. They didn't want black women to have any votes. They just wanted white women to have votes, right? And so there's a lot that was going on in that 70-year period between like Seneca Falls and ratifying the 19th Amendment, right? So then women get votes. Now what? Well, that's not enough. Now we've got to have something. Now we've got to keep going from that point where, and really, there's never been any waves of feminism. It's just the same thing, but it's been broken up by 2 world wars, Vietnam, Korea, civil unrest, the Bolsheviks, whatever, wherever you are, happen to be in the world, whatever sort of civil unrest that interrupted that particular stream of feminism right up until 1965. And 1965 is when we had the pill. And that one piece of technology was the catalyst, I think, for what we know of as sort of like, I call it militant feminism, but like modern day feminism right now is the result.
So you wouldn't make a delineation from pre-pill to after pill? Do you make any type
of... the reason I wouldn't make it pre-pill, I would say the sexual revolution, which came in the wake of hormonal birth control.
Okay.
Because what happens is, and I've done this, I'm actually considering writing a small book about this, which is the decade between 1965 and 1975. And if you look at all the things where it comes like with the decline of marriage, right now we are at the lowest marriage rate in recorded history in the United States. We're at 6.1 per 1,000 people right now. And that goes all the way back to like mid 1800s when
that's
they started
keeping 2024 or 2023?
2024. Yeah.
Okay.
And so when they're tracking it, this is the lowest it's ever been. If you look at 1965 to where we are right now, the baby boom generation, where the marriages went up, and then 65 came, and then they drop off a cliff, and at the same time, divorces go up. At one point, right when hormonal birth control is introduced in a popularized sense in Western culture, right? Then you've got the sexual revolution, then you got Woodstock, then you got the boomers, then you've got no-fault divorce to facilitate all of the new divorces that are coming as a result of the pill.
Let me ask you a question. Well, finish your thought before I ask you this question.
Well, but to look at all the other things that happened since then, you've got like then Roe v. Wade, 1972, 73, somewhere in there. Yeah. We go off the gold standard in 1971. So now women are coming into the workforce, and we don't have to worry about giving women credit cards or bank accounts anymore because we're on a fiat currency. And here you go, ladies, have all the credit you want. Right? Yeah. Then we've got, like I said, we've got Roe v. Wade. So now we have like fast, safe, elective abortions. Then you got Title IX, get more women into college, more women come into the workplace because they're divorcing their husbands and they're single. And so now they've got to make money. And if you also look at like the GDP at that time, you will see wage earnings flatline, but productivity goes through the roof because you have so many women that are now coming into the workplace, but they're not making any more money than the guys are. Productivity goes up, mean wages stay the same. We just keep going all the way from 19.
I'm surprised they even stay the same. If anything, I would think it would.
They go up a little bit, like with inflation.
I thought it would go down
and everything. But like if you compared to productivity goes up to the roof, and mean wages stay the same. And then you just go through. I think the golden era for feminism was really about the mid 90s. Because we didn't have the internet, we didn't have communication, we didn't have the kind of mass communication that we have right now.
Yeah.
And right around 2000 to the mid 2000s, what happens when we have mass communication worldwide? Now we have this we're globalizing that much more, and it's not just the economy that globalizes; it's the sexual marketplace that globalizes right around right through 2000 through 2010. That's where you see the rise of the seduction community. That's when it's no coincidence that the pickup artists in the forum eras, when we're on So Suave or Alt Fast Seduction or the Venusian Arts, that's when all of that stuff came up. The Game, the book with Neil Strauss and Mystery Method, that comes out at 2005, right in between all of that. And the reason for that is because now we can compare notes, and now we have a new technology that allows men to sort of get together and collectively talk about this stuff. You want to know where the rational male came from? It came from about 10 or 12 years of me being on the So Suave forums and having all of these conversations with these guys, and then collecting all of that, putting it into cohesive blog posts and essays and stuff. I'm essentially an essayist. And then those found their ways into the chapters of the book, right? And so now we go up, through the teens, and now we're in the 2020s right now. But if you look at the progression from where feminism sort of peaked, I think you'll see it's in like nobody knows. It's at its peak because it can enjoy the ignorance of most people, because nobody's comparing notes, nobody's talking about it. In fact, it's really kind of like improper and inappropriate to talk about female nature. We plotted the human genome.
Even today,
all this technology that's happened.
Let me ask you this question. I don't want to interrupt you. So you mentioned pre-1965 and after 1965. Would it be fair to say that pre-pill, women were more concerned with civil rights, equality in the workforce, being taken seriously in general, right? And then after 1965, it was more about sexual autonomy?
Yeah, for sure. But and because of one invention, you got to remember just the impact of a chemical device, because I think it's James Sexton calls it a technology, and it is. It's a chemical technology that allows a woman to have sex without having to worry about, relatively speaking, we're worried about pregnancy.
Yeah.
And if you look at all of the social changes that cascaded down from one invention, and you look at how men, like now suddenly during the 70s, it's you don't want to be a macho man anymore, and that's like you want to get in touch with your feminine side, and all this Jungian psychology comes to animus becomes a big deal, and all of this emotionalism, like the emotionalism that I talk about all the time, because I always talk about the difference between like empiricism and emotionalism. That emotionalism started right after the sexual revolution, because guys wanted to get in touch with their feelings, and they wanted to identify with women,
they wanted to get
they
laid.
wanted to be on team woman, because it's sneaky fucker game. They wanted to be and identify more like women so that they could get in there and like, oh, you're not like other guys. Those other guys are, patriarchal bastards. You're not like that at all. You're a modern guy. What's a modern guy? A metrosexual, right? What's a modern guy? It's a guy who's in touch with his feelings, right? And we still have that legacy today. When I go and I look at like Justin Baldini's site and the rest of these guys they're redirecting my traffic and your traffic too right now. It's like man bun, masculinity sites, and it's the same shit that seriously, you can track the same words that they're talking about in 2024 all the way back to the mid 70s, with guys trying to sort of go to their drum circles and burn patchouli oil and shit like that, and just like get in touch with their feminine side. And a lot of that emotionalism is a direct result of the fact that these guys, men knew too, like the boomer generation. We keep going back to the Woodstocks and all that other shit. The boomer generation of men, they were on board. Fuck yeah, a pill that you can take. No one's been able to do that in the history of humanity. To be able to fuck and not have to worry about getting pregnant. So that's like
crazy.
It's
like eating candy and not getting fat.
And that's like post-sexual revolution. Now, prior to that, my mother-in-law is a pre-sexual revolution generation, right? And she used to tell me this is like when the first like fertility clinics came out, sperm banks, people were losing their minds over it, because they said that women will go and electively do this so that they can have babies without a father, right? And that was a scandal prior to the sexual revolution, because if you had a child out of wedlock before 1965, in the 50s, early 60s,
extremely frowned
you would
upon.
have, and it doesn't matter what religion you are, it was just a social stigma, was to like, if you had like a daughter that got pregnant in high school at 16 or 17, she told me this, they would have to put that girl away. That's what they say, put her away, which meant she would either have to go have the baby and put it up for adoption, or the baby would be had and then it would be parented by the grandparents, because the parents it was brought shame on the family as a result of that. So when we go back to the story,
I don't think Americans understand that this was a very shunned upon thing.
Dude,
Ted Bundy's, I think it's Ted Bundy's mom, if I'm not mistaken, she had him, father wasn't there, out of wedlock, and they had to live in they had these like homes for like single moms.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called, but it's like they're defunct now. They don't exist.
The stigma for being a single mother prior to the sexual revolution was scandalous. Afterwards, in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, you're a fucking superhero. You
want to hear something interesting I heard this week?
You're doing it all. I never needed a dad. You can do both of them just fine.
Interesting story. During the civil rights era, there was a woman that did exactly what Rosa Parks did. Didn't want to give up her seat, etc. She was a single mom though. So they didn't want to push that. They didn't want to use her.
They bring it up.
They didn't want to use her as the so they let her ride. Hey, we're not going to prop up your story about you not wanting to get up. They waited till Rosa Parks did it, because Rosa Parks wasn't a single mom.
Yeah,
so that's how powerful it was stigma, back then. Nowadays, women are fucking proud to be a single mom, but and
electively do so.
Yeah,
like now.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what's funny is I've been reading these stories about these guys. I think
they brag about it.
They're in like Denmark or in like Amsterdam or something like that. There's like they're like sort of like black market sperm donors right now, and it's a real problem, because these guys are like sought out like this, like they'll have, there's guys on this sort of, these, I want to, maybe they're dark websites or web 2.0 sites, but these guys basically will give you a donation of sperm. And there's like certain individuals that are so popular that they keep getting chosen over and over and over again. And the problem with that is like the guy is like siring like dozens and dozens of kids with random women. And that can be a problem if those kids end up meeting each other and like getting together in the future kind of thing. So it's this inbreeding that goes along with that. And so like that is a modern day contemporary problem that we have right now as a result of one invention that was amplified by technology later on.
And you talk about that too, how these guys in 1965 with this birth control, right? Like the women's rights movement was more about like civil liberties, voting, all sorts of stuff. Then after 1965, it's sexual autonomy. And I think you've talked about this before. Like the guys like thought like, yes, we're all gonna get laid. This is gonna be awesome.
They didn't realize they were just basically selling themselves out. They didn't know. They didn't. Fuck, if I can get laid and I don't have to worry about pregnancy.
Hypergamy reared its ugly head, and they're like, oh, well, now effectively 80-90% of you guys are fucking sexed out.
Yeah.
And
I think what happens is like when people talk about, I hear tradcons talk about this all the time. They go, well, it's the guy's fault because they couldn't keep their dicks in their pants. It's like, it's a new technology. They don't know what's going to happen. They only see in what the proximate outcome is, which is I can get laid and I don't have to worry about a baby. Fuck yeah. Get some water? Yeah.
Caffeine? Yeah.
Yeah. So when I make the distinction between pre-sexual revolution and post-sexual revolution, I don't think it's so much about the like the sexual permissiveness as it is the fact that that you have to look at the root technologies that allowed for that mentality to exist in the first place. So when people want to blame like baby boomer men for not being able to keep their dicks in their pants, it's like you would have done the same thing because it's like it's brand new. It's something that you've like never had in the history of mankind.
If like a technology came out today, right? And there
and there will be something.
Oh yeah. You can eat as many calories as you want, you won't get fat. Dude, people are going to be fucking eating themselves into fucking death with, candy and all this other stuff. But what's going to happen? They're going to get sick. They're going to feel like crap. Their teeth are going to rot. Like there's always like negative consequences to something that you think.
We never look at it in terms of those. We don't look in the long term. There's a really great line in Jurassic Park where they say you're so preoccupied with, can we do this? Rather than should we do this? Because we don't know. We don't know what the long-term implications are for humanity. We just thought it was great. Oh, well, women have the right to choose, right? Women, if you think about, like, if you look at abortion right now, abortion is basically a fail-safe for bad reproductive choices. Those bad reproductive choices as caused by a technology that allows you to have sex
can you get that video ready?
Pregnancy.
Actually, we're on this topic.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Keep
coming around.
The Twitter one, Keep going, Rollo.
Are you out? I don't. Oh, do I have the keys? Yeah, I do have the key. You want the fob? Yeah, I got the fob.
Oh, thank you, bro. Yeah, you just get some caffeine. You want anything? This is my third stream. I'm dying.
No, I'm fine.
And I don't need just so you guys know, look, you guys better work fucking hard, man. I went to the gym this morning, like 3 hours of sleep, did a stream with the Hot Swins. I'm here with Rollo. We're still going hard to pay. I'm getting some goddamn caffeine because I'm tired. But we're going to keep going.
Dude, that's my diet plan, by the way. Caffeine and stress. That's how I stay svelte. That's how I stay this good looking.
So, okay, so sorry. You were talking about
say that I think that as far as sexual permissiveness is concerned, I think it's just the natural outcome of a technology that humanity wasn't ready for. It's what's called I think it's called.
You think humanity wasn't ready for it?
No, of course not. Not to the sense where like we would see like we didn't want to look down the road and what would be the possible implications of social implications.
You know what's scary? It's 2024 and we've had what 60 plus years of birth control and we still haven't fine-tuned it. Like it still has massively bad side effects for a lot of women. It still causes a lot of issues. It's still incredibly unhealthy. So it's like, I can't even imagine what birth control is like back in 1965. It was probably is way more primitive, probably sucky side effects, etc. But yeah, we always look at it like, oh yeah, this is great. Like, made a great quote like, hey, could we do this? But should we do this?
Should we actually do this?
And the reality is like the same thing. Like if we came out with a pill where you don't gain weight, but you can eat whatever you want. Well, there's always going to be side consequences to that. For example, you can now eat as much candy as you want. Your teeth are going to rot. You're probably going to get some diabetes. You're probably going to still feel like crap because when you eat a lot of candy, you get that really sick, nauseous feeling. So there's always something that comes
and
into
there's
play.
downstream effects that you're going to have to worry about. And
Always side effects.
In my fourth book, The Rational Male Religion, in the introduction, I was actually, I think it was the first introduction, the first or the first section of it. I mentioned this. I say, look, every so often in human history, there comes a technology that we're completely unprepared for, like nuclear weapons. Like when we drop the bombs on Hiroshima and everything, we can do this. Should we do this?
Yeah,
is the next
good
thing.
point.
And there's ethical implications, but not even so much that one technology fundamentally changed geopolitics forever. Okay?
Yeah.
And it's what I call, like, every now and then, it's like, remember in the Bible how it's like, there's the tree of knowledge and Eve eats the apple from it. I look at that sort of as like sort of an allegory or a metaphor for every now and then there's a technology, or there's some new thing that drops from the tree of knowledge, and we have this, and now we have the responsibility to do something with this, right? Atomic weapons, obviously. Okay. The printing press from the Gutenberg press back in like 1480 or something like that. That was a technology that increased literacy in Western Europe. And what did it do? It also caused wars between the Protestants and the Catholics back then, because it was now everybody could read the Bible, and they could say, you guys, there's some chicanery going on here with the Catholic Church. And so now we're going to be we're going to be the Protestants. Martin Luther knocks the stuff to the door there. As a result of one technology, the Gutenberg press, movable type. Okay. So fast forward to 1965, that's another apple that falls off the tree of knowledge. And now we have to find some way to deal with this. And not only just the fact that, hey, this is a great new technology, we can fuck and we don't have to worry about getting pregnant, but the internet is just as big a deal as the Gutenberg press.
Yeah.
And so when I talk about like sort of these new technologies that drop off the tree of knowledge, it's sort of, like I said, it's a metaphor for what's known as evolutionary gap. Mm-hmm. And it means that technology advances way faster than our evolution and our instincts can process that and see ahead of the game. So for instance, like, when did the Wright brothers start flying? 1906 or 1910 or something like that. Yeah. By the 50s, we have jet engines, and we've got Sabre jets, and we've got Phantom jets, and the 1970s, in less than 100 and under 100 years, right?
Yeah,
we did put a man on the moon in the 60s from but we were flying in 1910, right? Then we have computing. If you look at like the computers of, say, the mid 80s to this right now,
yeah. Your phone is more powerful.
You have the access to all the world's information on this one device right here. If I was to take this back to the 70s, people would think I was the devil.
Yeah, they would. They'd probably execute you.
Yes, they would.
What is this?
Yes, yeah, exactly. So
yeah, the smartphone. There's a couple of inventions that come along that literally change humanity.
Social media is one of those too.
Yes,
pornography. Digital pornography is one of those as well.
People don't know that it's one of those yet. That's the issue. Mm-hmm. People don't know yet that social media is one of these situations, like a birth control, etc.
Right.
They don't know yet. But I promise you, I would argue in 15 years, right? Like when I'm probably right around your age, and then like my brother, the Gen Zers are adults, or they're starting to become like in their 30s.
Elderly? Oh, the Gen Zers, yeah.
When the Gen Zers like get into their 30s,
we're kind of getting there.
The Gen Zers, because they grew up on cell phones, they grew up on iPads, etc. Sure. When they become like in their 30s, they're going to be able to look back and say, yeah, this is a fucking problem. Mm-hmm. Because now we've had a few generations that have dealt with social media and lived through it. And I think they're going to be able to effectively look back and say,
the bills are going to come due, because there's going to be long-term consequences, and they're going to realize what those were as a result of what they were doing in their 20s.
People are slowly picking up on it now, but I don't think it's created enough of an impact yet. We need another generation or two to like wake up and be like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the most destructive of them is Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram. I love Twitter, but I gotta say, it's social media in general, because, and I think it was another quote I did in the religion book. Zuby said, I'm going to paraphrase Zuby here, but human beings were never evolved to have the kind of communication that we have today. Like, we evolved to be in like hunter-gatherer tribes of 100, 150. And that was like our local sexual marketplace. That was who you knew everybody in your group. You knew who the elders were. You knew who the youngsters were, and everything else. And now we have this ability, and I was just bringing this up with Mike Sartain, because I'm 56, Mike's 46, Sterling Cooper's 36. Mm-hmm. There's 10 years difference between all of this, and I think like Kyle's like 26, you know, so that's and I don't have,
that's funny.
I don't even think about age anymore. So like when chicks come up to me and go, oh, it's not appropriate for a 46-year-old to be with a 22-year-old girl. I said, yeah, in the 20th century, in the 21st century, we do things a little bit differently right now because we have this globalized community right now. And if that's the way it works, then that's the way it works for them, right? I just saw these stats. Maybe you saw these stats too. It's like 63% of these are Gen Zers, right? So 18 to 29, 63% of males of 18 to 29 are listed. They identify as being single, not in a relationship, but being single. 37% of women in that same demographic identify as being single. So you're looking at least 67% of those women identify as being in a relationship, but they're not being in the relationship with their peers. They would have to be at least 30 or more. They would have to be outside of that, or else they're all fucking the same guy in 18 to 29, which that really might be the case.
That's what's happening.
So they're either dating older or they're dating the same guys in that same age cohort right there. That is a direct result, once again, of the technology, because now we have the women. Like, when in human history did women have the ability to talk to, like, a 22-year-old to talk to a 46-year-old, like Kylie, which is Mike's girlfriend, 22, he's 46.
Yeah.
Where would that have ever happened?
And
prior
she's from
to
like a part of the country that they would have never met.
Exactly.
Like, it would have never happened. And that comes back to like the whole, you know, the pill was just the beginning of like this whole, like you said, the sexual revolution. But like, what is the sexual revolution exactly? Well, it's a pill. So now you don't have negative consequences for sex. Now that that's taken out the way,
the social downstream effect.
Now we can go ahead and start focusing on like, okay, how are we going to meet? What can you do? How far can you go along the sides? Because there's no negative consequence anymore. And that comes back perfectly actually to this video that me and you were talking about before the show. Let's pull this up real quick. So this comes from one of the videos. This comes from Caller Daddy, right? And this podcast is so stupid. But
look at that. Look, I love that capture.
Let's just play the video.
That's Gen Z right there.
And then we won't even read the caption yet. We'll just play the video and then we'll go ahead and let that play. So yeah, let's roll the clip. Well, I don't know who sees the video, bro. They see me. Yeah, they don't see the video. Yeah. I think they can hear it, but they can't see it. Okay. Hold on, guys. Sorry about that. We're gonna fix it right now. Bill's in the back right now. Can y'all see it? Okay,
yeah, we're down the bottom there. Okay.
Yeah, let's fuck it. Just run it back. Sorry about that, chat. We got y'all.
I know all of you at home watching this or listening are like, why the fuck
did she look like? Did you guys think that she looks the way she sounds, by the way? Yeah, matter of fact, you know, fuck this. Let's make fun of this. Did she sound like a blonde? Give me ones in the chat if she sounded like a bimbo blonde. Okay, give me ones in the chat if you guys, like, literally the girl. Voice matches the fucking face. Now that you guys actually see her, we can make fun with this. So, yeah, this is fucking funny, man. Give me ones if you guys believe, like, you know, if the voice matches the fucking looks. All right, let's roll it.
I know all of you at home watching this or listening are like, why the fuck didn't I just go home? And I still to this day can't fully articulate why I didn't leave, which sadly I think is so fucking relatable for women. Like, why didn't you leave? Like, you were uncomfortable. Like, what did you think was going to change? Like, why did you stay? Like, I think as backwards as it sounds, because of how uncomfortable and awkward it was with this person, I didn't know what to do other than stay and suck it up. Like, I didn't want to make the other person feel more uncomfortable. So I tried to like appease the situation and make it better, because staying and being miserable somehow felt easier than like pissing someone off and getting in this fight and like leaving and acknowledging how awkward it was. And since he wasn't saying anything, I was not going to say anything. And like, I don't know, maybe only women will understand that, but like, like it is confusing, and yet like it's not confusing at all. Like I feel like we've all been there where we're like, I didn't really want to do that, or I wasn't really into it, but then like I didn't know how to get myself out of the situation, and I'm like in an apartment with these two men, and like he had already been being snappy. It was just it was awful. It was a bad situation.
Okay, so
there you go.
And the girl, right? And this is the girl that actually comments this. Scroll down. Let's look at the first comment, and she goes, "Can you enlarge that for me, Bills? Because I'm blind as hell." I can kind of see it. So she goes, and this girl probably watches Fresh and Fit, bro, because this sounds too damn good. Because I've said this before. Women will say shit like this and wonder why the entire planet and every major religion has imposed strict social restrictions on their sovereignty since the dawn of time in every place humans have ever lived. It's a meme phrase, but it's so true. Women need authority. They need protection from their worst impulses and from men who are dangerous and lecherous. I've never heard that term before. Is that even a word? Can
yes, it is. Oh, yeah.
It is a word?
Oh, yeah.
Well, did I pronounce it correctly? Creepy, lecherous? Okay.
Yeah. Creepy, lecherous.
So, and here's the thing that's scary, right? Call Her Daddy, I would argue, is probably the most popular female podcast, right?
Is it still on Barstool?
Or
did they leave? Because I didn't know if they separated.
Can you fact check that for us, Bills? Because I don't know. I remember it used to be two chicks, and now I guess it's just
now
one
it's just
Bimona.
her. Yeah.
And like, here's the thing that's scary. This girl can't make like a concrete decision. And this is, I think this is like 60 years of female sovereignty. And this is where we are, right? It's like they've had this sovereignty for such a long time, right? Feminism is here, etc. But when it comes to something as important as making mating decisions, they don't know what the fuck they're doing, right? They can't make a decision, or etc. And this is a lot of times where the Me Too situation comes in, not to take it to a dark place, but like these girls don't know what they're doing. They hook up with a guy. They weren't sure of it. And then at the time they consented, but then they feel bad about it after. Now it's regret.
Right. And
then they try to go ahead and insinuate that that's sexual assault or something, right?
Right.
And this is I think why like every single religion in all different types of societies at the beginning of time, they've placed super strong barriers on female sexuality and sovereignty, and most importantly, also female hypergamy as well. Like if you look at all the religions, right, and like whether it's Christianity, Islam, whatever, it's like women were severely punished for like exercising their hypergamy. Oh, you want to go ahead and be, cheat? Stoned. Like in Christianity and Islam, and I think in Judaism even too, like a married woman committing adultery is punishable by death. For men too. Yeah. Right.
Well, you have to remember that why those proscriptions existed in the first place. Okay. Yeah. So for men in general, like men, unless you're both white and the baby comes out black, you're not 100% sure if the baby's going to be yours.
Yeah.
So that's why we have institutions like marriage to ensure paternity for guys, right? So that's why you're saying like, well, if women practiced or were in any way granted some sort of unfettered freedom with hypergamy, the possibility that the child is not yours or you could get cuckolded is that much higher as a result of that. Again, what technology? Unfettered hypergamy, hormonal birth control. Yep. So when you look at certain like rituals and you look at certain like even prearranged marriages, for example, those prearranged marriage, the thing that gets me is every time I talk about marriage or like what's the purpose of marriage, Rollo, it's because aristocrats and the noblemen wanted to form alliances back in Western Europe and wherever they were. I'm like, no, dude. Like more than just rich noble aristocrats in Europe got married. Peasants got married every fucking day. Okay. So there must be something else just besides forming political alliances between Spain and France. Okay. So when we're talking
at the highest levels, it was for alliances.
The way that I look at marriage over the course of history is that it's a formalization of monogamy. This is okay. You want to be monogamous? Me, I
which
do.
Stabilizes society.
Okay, let's go get in front of all of our families and our friends and God Himself, and we're going to make these vows. And not only our family and our friends and everybody that knows, I'm going to put this ring on you to say that this is official kind of thing. Now, this is before there's this is before the state gets involved. We're talking in like medieval Europe and whatever. Those marriages were really a formalization of monogamy. And so if you had there was no like marriage certificates or anything like, unless it was like an official, like, a treaty between France and Spain or something like that. It was just two peasants marrying. There's no marriage certificates. You got a ring. Yes, that's my husband. That's my wife. We all got married together on this particular day. And now we are officially man and wife. Right. Okay. So that's just simply a formalization because everybody agrees upon it and all your friends do. And if one of you breaks that agreement, then you have this sort of social institution that's there to buffer between the man and if the man cheats, the woman cheats, you got your family and your friends, and you got the church and everybody else involved to sort of keep you guys in line. Now, that's one way of ensuring that the baby that comes out of that woman is the husband's baby that comes out of that woman, at least as best a policy as they can arrange at that time. So, and then if you look at prearranged marriages, for example,
and it stabilizes society too. Monogamy keeps men from doing crazy shit.
In the 21st century, I don't think that prearranged marriages are something that is tenable today, but I do understand why they've been a thing over the course of history. Yeah, because it wasn't, oh, I'm going to trade my daughter for 50 shekels and 30 heads of sheep or something like that. It was more about like, I want, like, for instance, I'm the father of a daughter, and if there's a formality, my son-in-law came to me before they were going to get married, and he asked for permission to marry my daughter. And of course, I'm Rollo Tomassi, so I got to chew his ear off for 2 hours, right? Of course. So I said, do you know what you're asking me? And he's like, of course, he thinks it's some sort of romantic gesture that he had to do because my daughter put him up to it or something like that. So I said, I know you think this is just some sort of formality. I said, but it's not. I said, ask yourself what you're doing here, because there's a reason why a man asks the father of the bride for permission. And it's not because she's a piece of property or anything like that. It's because what that guy is asking you is, can I join my tribe with your tribe? Can I join my clan with your clan? Is my parents and my upbringing, my genealogy, and everybody who's on my side of the wedding, are we going to all be cool? Are we going to now have this sort of like mixed tribe together, or this mixed clan, or this mixed, families together? Because when a man and a woman get married and they get together, it's not just about the two individuals involved. It's about any children that come out of that. It's about two families. It's about grandparents. It's about great-grandparents. It's about friends. It's about so much more. If you look at it, one marriage causes ripple effects and a cascade effect around those two people that affects the lives of everybody from the children to your fucking dogs, man. I mean, everything. And so I told him, I said, what you're asking me is my family cool enough to be with your family? And the answer to that was yes at the time, of course. Yeah. So it's not just about that. That's why when a couple eloped, that's why that was so frowned upon back then, because what it was it was basically giving the finger to both sides of the family and say, we're going to go off and elope, and we don't care what you have to say, because we don't care about the two families commingling and becoming one family as a result of that.
I think the other thing too, why arranged marriages were such a thing, and going back to female sovereignty when it comes to sexual autonomy, I think, a controversial take, I think female sexual autonomy is a problem. And the reason why is that women make really bad decisions with partners most of the time. What do they look for when they're at their highest value and they're young and hot? They want a bad boy that's good looking, has a bunch of money, and, commitment phobe, right? And what'll end up happening is like her need for excitement overrides her need for security. And then as she gets older,
she needs the roller coaster.
Yeah. And then as she gets older, that need for security goes up in priority. But the problem is that her value is diminishing as she's looking for the security.
Less able to get the security.
She's less able to get it.
She's more able to get it when she's younger and more attractive, less able to afterwards.
And this is why I say all the time, I think the father, or at least a brother or an uncle, someone close to that woman, needs to be involved in the mating process, because the brother or one of these guys, like, they don't have a sexual interest in her. So they're going to be able to size that guy up and be like, no, this guy's fucking bad for you. This guy is here in a Harley with a leather jacket. He just wants to have sex with you and never take you seriously. I'm here to protect you from yourself, you dumb bitch.
Make sure you don't make bad decisions.
I don't want you to lose value, because if you lose value and you're not able to find a mate, I'm still responsible for you, right? The dad, that's why women never left the house. Like, the dad knew, like, if I don't marry her off, I'm going to be responsible for her. So if I have to keep giving her resources, right, and paying for this, well, I'm going to have a stake in who the hell she marries and who she gets involved with. And like, and then you can't finesse another dude, because the guys are going to ask the real questions. Hey, what do you do for work? What are your plans? Are you in school right now? You know, they're gonna ask the real questions, whereas like girls are gonna like kind of, what do you do? Huh? And then get fooled.
Yeah, when I was funny, you should say fooled. When I was doing the research work for my 4th book, Religion, I had to talk to a lot of people of different varieties of religions. Right? I talked to Muslims, I talked to Christians, I talked to Jews, I talked to Hindus, I talked to Sikhs. I think if I was going to convert, if I was going to do anything other than what I do, I'd be a Sikh.
You'd be a towelhead?
I would be a fucking Sikh. Those guys got it going on.
Man. The yarmulkes look kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, it's the only one.
They'll never let you in. They'll never let you in.
It's the only one left to me. Everybody's like, Tate's went to be a Muslim, and Roosh got to be Eastern Orthodox. Well, I guess it's the Jews I'm left with. All right, I guess I'll have to go with them.
The yarmulkes are pretty cool.
Me and Aaron Clary will just get together, like, you know.
Well, he's already part.
Yeah, he's ethnically. Yeah. But no, I was going to say is that so I had to talk to these guys quite a bit, and a lot of the men in Islam, they line up exactly with what you're talking about.
Yeah,
and that's why I said I understand the want for it, because if you have an older man who understands the nature of men in general, like for instance, like I think it was Abu American. He was telling me that he has sons and he has daughters. He says, I don't want my sons to be with ugly bitches. I'm going to find them, good looking women that I think that I would want in my family. Like, he's making a family decision. Not only that, but also like to find out what the best interest of his son is, as well as his daughters. He doesn't want his daughters to be with some bums or some fat dudes either. He wants a guy who can work out, who has good prospects and everything. He's looking out for the best in an ideal world. A good patriarchal father is going to look out for the best interests of his sons and his daughters.
Absolutely.
And as a father of a daughter, I understand that.
And I would argue with the daughter, it's even more important. Like, because I look at women kind of like as glass. And what I mean by that is like, they don't handle trauma well, right? Like, they're not built to deal with trauma, and they don't become sexier from dealing with trauma. Scars on a man is good. Scars on a woman are not fucking good. And like, if you shatter a piece of glass, right, or a glass cup, right, and then you try to put water, you tape it back and everything, you try to put water in it, it's always going to leak, right? That's why I always say, like, girls that are former sex workers or girls that were like super promiscuous in the past, they'll never be good to you, because
another technology that women are not prepared for.
Yeah.
They don't see the downstream, the long-term effects. In fact, nobody does. We've never seen this. I mean, it's only been around. I mean, it's only been popularized since about 2020.
My prediction is we're going to see in 20 years, we're going to see so many women tattooed, single, wrinkled, looking crazy. Used to be OnlyFans chicks, used to be sex workers, used to be sugar babies, whatever it may be. Because it's cool. So we're going to know who they are, because they're on the internet flaunting right now. And the internet never hides anything. You'll be able to find it. And you're going to see, like, the past is going to come to haunt, like, a lot of these girls, man. And going back to what I was saying about, like, the father being involved, etc. Like this girl right here, she doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. Oh, well, I don't know this and that. It's just a bunch of fucking word salad. She couldn't, like, make a conclusive decision because because the guy is clearly attractive, right? But she knows he's not good for her to some degree, but she doesn't have the ability to, like, make a decision because there wasn't a man in there to help her with, like,
do you remember, did you watch, I'm sure you watched Tinder Swindler when it came out.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what? I watched that whole thing and I was just like beside myself. I'm like, where is the main girl? Like, where is the father? Where is her brother? Where is her uncle? Where is a responsible adult male to say, no, bitch, you're not getting on this fucking airplane with this dude you just met 45 minutes ago on fucking Tinder.
He's smart. He went after women that were, like, all in their epiphany phase.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, I think, like, were in their late 20s.
Yeah, post 30.
They were all post 30. Okay, I was thinking in my head they were either late 20s or in their 30s.
They're trying to look for the ship to come in.
Dude, yeah. And like, when women, they could say whatever the fuck they want to say. But like, you meet, you guys was the Chad, right? Multi-millionaire, etc., jet, all this shit. Like, yeah, they're like, oh my God, finally it's here, and then let's be honest, like, a lot of these girls, like, were probably 304s when they were younger, and they know they don't qualify for this type of guy, but they're like, oh my God, he's here. So
I mean, that one girl took out 9 bank loans for this guy. After the first 2, you're gonna, but like, when you get to the third one, where's dad? Where's brother? Where's a guy to step in? And of course, I made this observation when the film came out and everything. I was talking about it on my own show, and women lost their fucking minds, man. They were like, how dare you? She can make her own decisions. She doesn't need a man to come step in to do anything for her. I'm like, The whole fucking show is about this guy taking this girl to the cleaner for fucking 9 fucking bank loans, and had one responsible dude,
dad would have been like,
friend,
let me meet this
I don't care
guy.
if some positively masculine motherfucker steps in and says, no, you're gonna get killed if you go on this plane to go to, I don't know, Mykonos or where the fuck they were going, right? And it's like nothing sat wrong with her throughout the whole like sort of, you know, courtship or whatever it was. Well, he did the whole thing with several other girls as well, probably still doing it today, right? I think they want him in a couple he's wanted in a couple I'm sure he is, but like, I mean, the guy's like passing off bullshit like he's a Mossad agent, he's a diamond merchant, he's this, he's that, whatever. And I'm just like, where's the guy to step in and say, what the fuck are you doing? You know, and like to say, no, I'm going to physically restrain you from going and getting on this private jet and flying off to who knows where to get sold into white slavery or whatever the fuck it is, right?
You know,
where is the guy? And the answer is nowhere. And you know why no guy steps up? Because because we have acculturated and we have taught men and we have socialized men that it is not our place to do that. She's a woman, she's an adult, she can go and make her own decisions, right? And so, like, you probably also remember, like, just not too long ago, I think it was this year. It would have been like right around March or April. And like some guys were going around, like, I think it was New York or something like that. And they're just like cold cocking women on the streets, right?
There was a guy walking around punching women.
And then
crazy.
The one guy who steps in to defend women, he's the one that goes to jail. Because of the laws or whatever it is, right? And so what happens is then women are losing their shit. They're going, how come men aren't protecting us? We're the protectors. And so if a guy such as myself or you or anybody else says women need men to watch out for them, to protect them, you know what the snarky comeback is? Protect them from who? Other men. Like, you're 100% fucking right. Protect them from other men, because if you don't, and then of course I'm the asshole and I go, protect you from yourselves.
That too.
Because you're gonna live too. You're gonna have this cognitive dissonance between I don't need no man to protect me, and oh my God, people are running around New York cold cocking, you know, random women, and it's men's fault for not being masculine machismo men to come out and defend us. Oh, here's one, and he went to jail for a result of it. And so it's this, like I said, this cascade effect
leads to a lot of problems, man.
And exactly. And all because of this sort of like hubris and this idea that, well, it doesn't matter, I can protect myself. No, you can't. And when you can't, who do you go to? You go and say it's men's fault for not protecting you.
And here's what sucks even more, right? Because I literally tweeted this and I said that this is a problem because this girl has a massive amount of influence. People actually tune into this stupid podcast, right? This brainless fucking podcast where they talk about being hoes. And to me, I look at it like, okay, so the chat listened to her voice, right? And they didn't see what she looked like. Put her on screen, they're like, yep, sounded like what she fucking looked like, right? Ridiculous. But women watch that instead of watching Candace Owens, right? Or they don't watch like these women who I would consider like are positive female role models. They'd rather watch this stupid bimbo talk about, I like hooked up with him, but like I don't know, and all this other shit.
Am I right? Am I right, girls? Am I right?
And it's like, and like all you're doing is like you're perpetuating female indecisiveness with very serious decisions. You know what I mean? Like you can go ahead and put yourself in a very precarious, dangerous situation where you end up the victim of sexual assault, or you regret the sex after the fact. And then like, you know, now you're going ahead and making a bullshit Me Too accusation. No one believes you, whatever. So it's like, I think like,
and the thing that's interesting is this is like, she will do this solo, no one else. She's just talking to the wind, right? Or whoever's listening that she knows is going to listen to.
Like that was a bunch of words, by the way.
What is? But
she made no points, and she has a podcast.
Well, and the reason
isn't that scary?
Her brain is in a kernel panic. Okay, she doesn't know which way to go with it, because if she goes one direction, it contradicts going the decisions that she made for the other direction, right? And so she's there trying to sort this out for herself and wondering why she's in this precarious. And of course, it's all men's fault, right? But of course, the reason why she's having this is because she's trying to sort out cognitive dissonance for herself. And there's one very simple cure for that. You listen to dad, you listen to your brother, you listen, like have somebody step in and make the decision for you. And maybe it sucks, but maybe they're trying to protect you from yourself, which is exactly what I said, to protect you from yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? And again, not because I'm trying to be a tyrant or I gotta have some iron control and I'm this manipulating control freak. It's like, no, I want the best for you.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, if I would say the same thing for my daughter. I would say the same thing for any, like my friends, my girlfriends, my girls that are on this show, girls that I know in general. It's like, I want to help you not because I'm trying to like get in your pants or anything. I don't want you to fucking have these consequences.
That's why it's got to come from the dad or the brother, because it's a natural. I would argue like your brother, your dad, your uncle, if you're in a healthy family, grandfather, like these are masculine figures that have zero sexual interest in you. So any advice they dispense is going to be 1000% to your actual benefit, not your fucking guy friend, not your girlfriend's boyfriend. Like, no. These guys actually give a fuck about you if you come from a healthy family.
Exactly. And if you have, so like, for instance, there's this.
Because they're going to deal with the consequences. They got skin in the game.
You've probably heard of like mate guarding as a mate guarding behaviors, yes, right? That's when a man and a woman, the guy's like, wants to keep his bitch and doesn't want her to go out on him or anything like that. Jealousy instinct. Okay. There's also paternal guarding. Okay. So for instance, I'm a father. I don't want strange dudes coming in and fucking around or trying to, put moves on my girl. Right. Because I know what they're about. I want to bury or put between the two of them.
When you say paternal, like your daughter, right?
It's paternal guarding, yes. And then the same thing applies, and it's really kin altruism is what it is, but it's also in brothers as well. So like my brother has 2 children. He's got a boy and a girl, and I see them both protect the other from like my niece will protect my nephew from like don't get with that bitch because she looks like she's a slut. Oh, yeah, and then there's how old are they, like dating it now? No, they're in their 20s, in the mid 20s. And then my nephew who is the sister, right, or the brother or the sister, will do the same thing. We'll say, hey, he would probably go kick someone's ass if he thought that was if there was some impropriety going on there. Good. And so it should be, and it's also an instinct. It's an evolved instinct. Okay. Why is that? Because I don't want my daughter to have the baby of somebody else's baby, some other tribe's baby, some other clan's baby that I don't want to be associated with for the rest of my fucking life. Because now we have this kid, we don't believe in abortion, and so therefore we're going to keep the kid.
And it hurts your abilities to get with a clan that you might want in the future.
Right. Exactly. And so what you're doing is it's really that kind of guarding. You could call it patriarchal, whatever you want, but it's a parental instinct for guarding. Mostly fathers and daughters, obviously, because women are the incubators of the next generation, right? So if an intruder comes in from an outside tribe comes in, impregnates your daughter, and then takes off, well, now you have the burden of a daughter that back then, of course, there's the stigma and the social side that goes to it, but now that becomes a resource drain for you as well.
Yeah.
So now you have another child, because there's it goes back to his tribe, and
because it used to be like the woman
was ejaculate and evacuate.
Yeah. Yes. Because it used to be the daughter stays at home with the father and the family until she gets married, which I actually agree with. I don't think women should live by themselves. I think they should be living with their parents until they find a serious boyfriend.
At the rate we're going in this country, that shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Yeah. Like, I really don't think they should be living alone. Like a guy, you go out there, get beat up, whatever the fuck. Like, abuse is good. Trauma is good for men. Like, you need to fucking suffer. But as women, I think women shouldn't be suffering. They should never suffer.
There'll be a million people who are going to watch this and they go, oh, that Myron and that Rollo, they're old fashioned. They're patriarchs. They're control freaks. They're manipulative. And it's like, it doesn't come from a motivation or an impulse for like wanting to control. It comes from wanting to protect, wanting the best for my family and my friends too, right? Because again, I don't want any of the girls that I know as sort of friends of the shows or something like that. If they're going through some bullshit like that I can help them avoid, I'm going to help them, because then I don't have to hear the bullshit, like, oh, I'm sorry, you fuck me again. Yeah. I don't want to go. I don't want to listen to that shit. I got shit to do, right? I like you, but don't make me fucking sort your shit out for you. Well, it would help if you just simply would just do what I fucking said in the first place, or at least take my advice to heart. Yeah.
They never do, man. And it's not until it's too late and their values like hurt, that's why I just tell guys, like, man, just
see everything. But they'll say that even us just having this conversation is misogynistic.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh, you're a misogynist. You believe in masculine supremacy, right? I mean, you and I are on a list, by the way.
Are we?
I don't know if you know that. We're on a list.
Which one?
Well, it's for an NGO called Diverting Hate.
Oh God!
And it is. By the way, if you're paying taxes, you're actually paying to be delimited and blacklisted and shadow banned, and have your traffic redirected to state-approved masculinity sites right now.
Well, there was a country, was it England or Australia? Like they're trying to make it a crime
Oh, they already did. It's the UK is
the UK, right?
Her name is Yvette Cooper, and she just, I don't know if it's on the books just yet, but she's proposing laws to prosecute people from even outside the UK, influencers, that whoever could that be? Someone in Romania we know.
Oh my God.
But for extreme misogyny, right? Whatever that is. And of course, it's very ambiguously defined. About 2 weeks ago, they put the proposal on the books that they can extradite influencers that in any way influence the civil unrest or whatever in the UK, which of course they were dealing with at that time, right? So they want to say, well, if you're talking shit about us and you're in the United States or you're in another country and you're an influencer, we have the right to extradite you and bring you into the country and prosecute you under our laws, right? Which I don't know how they make that stick.
Yeah, because we have First Amendment laws here, freedom of speech. So let me get this straight. We broke your stupid foreign ass laws, but we are still within the realms of our rights. A week later, Yvette Cooper, I believe she is the House Ministry. She's in the yeah. So England is doing. England is a failed nation, man.
And then she throws out the extreme misogyny thing, right? Of course, who's the poster boy? Who's sitting right now? Who's right next to her picture? Andrew Tate,
of course.
So. And then, by the way, you and I are on that list as well, and so is Pearl, and so is MTR. I don't know how he got on. No, well, for all these guys.
Oh, the DHS thing.
The DHS thing. And Aaron Clary, how the fuck you got on this list? I don't know, but apparently he's a threat, a menace to society. Me, I get. I don't know how Aaron made it on the list, quite honestly.
That's crazy.
But I'm on there. MTR's on there. Rich Cooper's on there. You're on there. Sandman is on there. I have no idea how he got in there. Honestly, I think they're just scooping up whoever the big names were at that time.
Just like the Redpill on YouTube.
What they're doing is they're essentially through technology and through actually just like ad buys. What they're doing is they're redirecting traffic. Like if I look at my subs and I look at my actual views, it's like I think I got 328 new subs in the month of July, right? And my watch time is in like the 4 million, 4 million minutes or whatever it is. And then I'm looking at this and I go, there is no way those subs match up with my actual views. Yeah. And so there's only one. It's being manipulated.
They're definitely
the traffic's being manipulated.
And it's crazy because, I love how they try to paint, because what ends up happening is they try to paint sexism as misogyny. I think sexism is good because sexism basically distinguishes that there's polarity between the genders and we're different, right? It's what keeps the bathroom separate, so don't want to have weirdos abusing our, little boys or little girls. It's how we protect women from weirdo guys in sports that want to compete as women and take away their sport.
Nature and evolution has a sexist bias.
Yeah, like sexism is a good thing. It's just like if I go ahead and I'm a gentleman to a woman, I pay for the bill, I treat her well, I pick her up, and I do, I practice chivalry. That is sexism. But I find it interesting how they always look at sexism as like a negative thing. I would argue sexism.
It's not sexism if it works in the girl's favor. It's That's what it works in your favor, then you're fucked.
When I think about it, sexism only benefits women.
Well, yeah, in the sense that it's like a negative thing, right?
I can't think of how sexism benefits men.
I don't think that there's necessarily anything really called sexism, quite honestly. I think it's just like there are aspects.
We're different.
There's aspects of male. There's no such thing as toxic masculinity either, right?
Yeah.
There is only
made up word.
There is only masculinity. And there is only the aspects of masculinity that are approved and are complement the female imperative. And then there's the parts that don't, right? Anything that benefits a man like exclusively, that's toxic, right?
Yeah.
But anything like when the floodwaters rise and you need somebody to save your ass off the top of a fucking roof, then suddenly masculinity is no longer toxic anymore, right? Because it benefits she stays alive. It benefits the woman. Oh, my hero, right? But the thing is when you're looking at those aspects of masculinity, the same masculinity that causes a guy or fireman to run into a burning building and save a baby is the same masculinity that those guys on Jackass have when they go and do stupid stunts. And I see these guys on Instagram where these guys jump off these huge cliffs into like the water down below. Yeah. That takes some I don't see women doing that. I only see men doing that. And like, oh, well, this is why women live longer than men. I'm like, no, that's because they're masculine. You know why they can do it? because they can fucking do it. That's why. And they just want to do it. That's the same masculinity that you need, that same ballsiness to go in and save a baby out of a burning building, and as it is to jump off a cliff into some icy water. They don't understand
that you can't have one without the other, right? Like I've heard idiot chicks on TikTok, right? Where the TikTok
is it crazy and stupid sometimes? Yes, it is, but at least accept the fact that that's male nature.
You have like these stupid girls on TikTok. TikTok literally just proves how stupid some of these girls are. Dude, it's stupid. The girls like say ridiculous things, and they'll say things like, well, you know, I just want a guy that's like pays for the bills, super masculine, goes to the gym, has a beard, but at the same time cries all the time, super in touch with his feelings, like, you know, can get dressed with me. Like, it's like, you stupid bitch. It's one or the other. If you want a hyper masculine guy, he's not going to sit there and watch The Notebook.
You want the perfect slave is what you want.
Fucking stupid. Yeah, perfect slave.
You want the perfect
idiots.
Slave.
Yo, do we got some ads to read or?
No ads today.
Okay. No ads today?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, yeah, we can read some of these chats.
Oh, you can actually see it on screen.
Yeah.
These two right here. There was another one.
I can't see. Rollo, you got better.
Just pop it on the screen. Can you pop it on the
I
screen?
have to pin it up.
Yeah, pin it up.
Wait, what? Oh, shit. Okay. Never mind. We got this fat nigga Mexican at the gym on the treadmill right now. Nice. Let's go. Oh, yeah. What a Castle Club member came up. I got him a gym membership. This is awesome. What else we got here?
There it is.
Mind for hooking up Noam with the year membership. The rest of us OGs are going to help him and hold him and each other accountable. Absolutely, bro. You guys better. He's fat as fuck. I told him you got to go to the gym.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it? Cool.
There you go.
Yeah, if you guys got questions for Rollo, get them in. And let's see here. How many we got live? I can't even see. Yeah, I can't see. 42 between all the platforms? Yeah, YouTube, Rumble.
Does Rumble give you all platforms? That's cool.
Yeah, you can multi-stream on all platforms.
Right.
Yeah, Rumble. Yeah, we're on Rumble Studios.
Fuck, what am I doing?
Nice. Yeah, dude, you need to be on here, man.
Well, let me give you the setup for Chris.
Oh yeah.
Chris
So
Williamson.
he's interviewing this.
He's the comedian,
female comedian,
yeah, who's not funny. We've agreed.
Not funny. Yeah.
Okay. But the thing is, and neither is Chris Williamson. The thing that I'm getting right now, and I'm sure you're probably like, we've been doing this for quite some time. Like you've been doing it for about 3 years now. With
we're going almost on 4, surprisingly.
Yeah,
you've been doing it for 20.
Yeah, Fresh and Fit's been around since, as far as I know, January of 2021, right? Or thereabouts. Like
2020. Yeah.
And
of 2020, that's why.
And so I think you and I have both seen sort of the paradigm shift in the red pill and the manosphere over the course of just 3 fucking years.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And it's exactly what I was telling you guys on March of 2021 when you guys asked me, is the red pill going mainstream? And what was my answer? I hope not.
Yeah.
And I didn't say it wouldn't, but I said I hope it didn't, because you're going to have a lot of people and a lot of these bad actors who are going to come in and they're going to either like completely distort the red pill or the manosphere or whatever it was we're saying. Up to this point, you and I have been having a very logical, very rational, reasonable, good conversation between us where we're exchanging information. I don't think we've said anything that's really over the top crazy or anything like that. And you know what? This is the show none of these sons of bitches will watch, because they're looking for the show where you say it's gay to eat pussy.
Yeah,
that's what they want. That's the clip, right? That's what they want to fixate on, right? And so what happens is I got these guys, and I'm looking at like some of these influencers. That's
what this clip is going to be.
Now, if I look at Chris Williamson at one point when he was at 500,000 subs, he did this like celebration, Q&A AMA on his channel, and everybody in that fucking damn near everybody in that stream said, you need to get Rollo on the show.
Really?
Right back then. This was about 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Yeah, it was before he hit $1 million. It was a halfway to $1 million mark, right? And of course, his answer was, "Well, I was thinking about it, but he seems so gleeful, and he seems like he's
gleeful.
Yeah, like I'm happy about like the stuff that I'm throwing out, like and like I'm in some way negatively broadcasting information, and it's the same information of the same guys he's had on the show. Like he's literally had Gad Saad on there. He's had, so many different. Spy? He's had. He has had evolutionary psychologists that I've directly quoted. He is, anybody. We will take anybody except for me and anybody except for you. Yeah. He's yet to have you on there as well. Yeah. But that doesn't preempt them from talking shit about us either indirectly or directly and say, oh, it's those red pill these horrible. And that, by the way, you and I are degenerates. I didn't know if you knew
really
that.
Are we?
Yeah, we are degenerates right now.
Shit,
we are the degenerates. Yes.
Let's see the clip.
Let's watch that. Watch the clip right here. You get an idea what I'm talking about.
Of this, how many podcasts are owned by Spotify or bought by Spotify?
Take a louder so I can hear it.
want to play it on the TV? That's right. You're gonna have to switch the audio real quick.
All right, guys, we're gonna play it so we can hear it on our end because I've never seen this clip before. So Rollo is
give me ones in the chat if you can hear it.
Girl talk. It's girl talk with fucking Cindy and Lindsay, and all they do is talk about their one night stands and what happened, and blah blah. And this is the position that I like. And if you tried it to do this way, I know of no, even the most degen autist red pill manosphere podcast do not get to that. There was a brief period where there was like this odd campaign where going down on girls is gay. Was like a sort of movement that was being pushed by, but
why? Because it's like sub or something.
Yeah, kind of.
The woman.
Yeah, exactly. Beyond that,
it's like sucking her dick or something.
Yeah, kind of. I honestly think that was
going down on trans girl, maybe for sure.
But
I do want to say I've never said that it was gay.
I didn't know. Well, before you get started here,
yeah.
Is there still a movement? Because that sounds like a big fucking deal. Did we get a Discord server for this? Did we get fucking let's say, do we have a module class with videos to show? Because it sounds like it's very important. Like there's a lot of people in this movement that are fucking doing this.
And I don't know who they're talking about because there are other guys in Redpill that I think have said that it's gay. But for me, I never said that it was gay. I mean, it's quite the opposite. Actually.
You and I have had this conversation before. I disagree. I think going down on a woman is just fine. But that's the thing is, they don't know that. They don't watch this shit. All they do is hear one fucking clip from
or they'll hear from someone else and they'll assume we all think that. Here's other things too I will say. Like this, and obviously I'm being funny here and making some jokes and shit, right? Trying to keep myself awake because I'm delirious. But no, what I will say also that's really important. Like what I've noticed is like the nastiest guys, right? When it comes, whether they're like, doing things with the butt or vagina or whatever, like the nastiest dudes, they're almost always lower sexual market value. Almost always. Like, of course, you're going to get guys in there that are chads and got their shit together, whatever, that still do that weird shit. But like hyper masculine, dominant men that are attractive and have options don't do that shit, bro. They're just not doing it.
There's a difference between like doing something to a girl and then like doing it like you're right there in the moment doing it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's another. It's guys who are like they have something to prove. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a difference. It's a qualifiable difference. Like if you got a guy who's like into nasty stuff, like that guy might be doing it to go, I'm going to do it to this bitch. Right.
Yeah.
Or else it's like, I'm really into this and I really like
I mean, when I say nasty, sorry, my bad.
difference.
I meant to say, let me be clear. I didn't say that, explain that. When I meant like the nasty guys, I mean, as in they'll do something that's nasty and compromises them.
Yes. Okay.
Like eating vagina, eating ass, doing some weird shit like that. I've noticed guys that typically do that weird shit, they have low sexual market value. They're either ugly, weird, they smell, they don't make money. Something is wrong with them a lot of the times. And what ends up happening, like not is only something wrong with them, something is like significantly or severely lacking.
Their sexual skill becomes a value added part of the
Precisely.
Because I'm not high value enough, so I have to cultivate these particular behaviors that are high value because I can get this girl off by eating her out. I can get this girl going because she likes anal sex. I can do these certain things.
Precisely.
And it's not about, like, a good example. It's not about the act itself. It's about proving that that act is value added because they're low value and they want to, again, mate retention. They want to hang on to that girl in the long term.
You just perfectly eloquently explained my more crass way of saying it.
Which is why no one's going to listen to this whatsoever.
No, they won't. They won't. Like, I'm just saying
certainly
in a crass manner, and you said it in a way more professional
and
manner.
I'll tell you what's funny.
Low SMV guys do stupid shit to keep girls around. Like whether it's simping and buying them handbags or licking box or all the above. The nastiest men that I've seen, they typically have something significantly wrong. They're really fat. They're ugly. They're really broke. So they have to do weird shit like that. You know what I mean? And then like the women use them. Like there's like this whole like epidemic like where they're like women like just like get like use guys to like give them like lick their vagina. That's it. And dudes are okay with that. Like that's fucking unacceptable. But dudes are simps.
I tell you the interesting thing is like I know so many porn stars right now. I know so many OnlyFans girls. I know strippers. I know FHM models. I know Maxim girls. It's Vegas, right? And I understand like a lot of these girls will tell me stuff like they're financial domination, or they'll do
yeah.
like foot fetish stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck is foot fetish stuff? You know, and it's dirt simple for girls to do, and they make money hand over fist. I'm like, what motherfucker is paying to like look at your feet with a fucking high heel shoe hanging off of it, right?
Crazy.
And just jerking off to that. And so I'm looking at this and I'm going, where does this come from, first of all? And then
I hate feet.
And then it made me realize, it's like, I like fucking my wife for the last 20 something. I'll go down. I love going down with my wife. I like getting head, and I like lingerie. That's it. I'm vanilla.
Yeah.
You know,
me too. I'm vanilla too. With that,
I'm like, what the fuck? Do I have to like feet? Do I have to like want to be put in a fucking dog cage?
Yeah.
Do I want to, you know, be strung out on some fucking you know, crucified like Conan? I'm like, what the fuck is this? You know, and again, it's low value guys trying to do mate retention and trying to prove that they have some sort of value added as a result of being into this weird shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, you're in, like, if it's some sort of like esoteric refinery or something, some, you know, like, oh, it's fine wine. I like shoes and I like watching girls walk around in like little teeny tiny feet or some shit like that.
It's weird, man. And these fucking weirdos, the problem with these guys is, right, they come into the sexual marketplace and they do this stupid shit. And what ends up happening is, this is why so many women don't respect the majority of men, dude.
Yeah.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at like girls that are like sex workers. A lot of them like hate men. Well, rightfully so, by the way.
What were we saying in the beginning?
I'd hate them too if I was.
We were saying in the beginning, why do women have to get into OnlyFans? Why do they have to get the bag? Why do they have to get the education? Because men ain't shit.
Yeah.
Because men can't provide long-term security.
And then the very men that they deal with help perpetuate that anger even further, because they're dealing with weirdos.
Right.
Like, a lot of women that are sex workers deal with like bottom of the barrel fucking guys most of the time. Right. Or they might deal with a cool high value guy once in a while, but he just has sex with her and tosses her to the side. So she gets mad about that too.
Mm-hmm.
So do we have we'll go back to the video.
I was going to say, you don't have to go back to it. I just want to point out the fact that like,
that was it?
That was just basically what I wanted to point out the fact that like we've got, well, just the mistake of like lumping us into like some sort of, I think there's a lot of people who right in the manosphere right now and in red pill spaces right now who are just simply bad actors. Who they like, for instance, like I've seen, and
here's the thing too, like with Chris Williamson, because I met him in person, I hung out with him in Miami one time, and I'm really like disappointed that like, you know, he's gonna put everybody like in this box. It's like, dude, interview the fucking top guys in the sphere, then come to these conclusions. Like, don't, you know, make a blanket statements like this, like, oh yeah, you know, they're fucking talking about this.
And by the way, he's not the only one that does this, but he's got a big platform for it. Yeah. I mean, the guy, okay, so
like you talk about intersexual dynamics all the time. It's like, bring the top guys that talk about this shit. You.
If you're going to have a guy like Destiny on your show and say, what do you think of the red pill? Oh, I think it's dead. Why are you talking to this guy who has no history whatsoever in the red pill? Why would it not be me? Why would it not be you?
Yeah.
Even Tim Pool has had us on his show.
Yeah.
So the thing, and Mike Sartain told me this. He said, don't sweat these guys right now. He says, because we're just going to keep going and keep doing what we're doing until it becomes so blatantly obvious, because it becomes weird that we haven't been on the show yet.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to him before. It is
how
weird.
Come you haven't had him on there?
It is weird, and I'm sure he probably gets requests all the time. Like, why don't you talk to these guys? Because he does a lot of like intersexual dynamics stuff.
I see it all the time. Like, who should I have on next? And everybody goes, Rollo, Myron, blah blah blah, and you know, mute.
Yeah. He does that on purpose, you know, and like it is crazy because I met him in person, nice guy and shit. But it's like, I'm like in my head, I'm like, you do a lot of your content, a substantial amount is literally intersexual dynamics, and you're not talking to like the top guys in this field. Because I hate to say,
and like, when they do bring us up, it's indirectly, and it's some snarky, stupid remark that's going to be that was the clip. That's why I came across it.
This is literally our wheelhouse, dude. Like this is our wheelhouse, and it's cool. Like, but like, look, you don't want to bring us on, totally fine. Like I'm all for that, but because I understand that I'm controversial as fuck. Yeah. Right. Like bringing a guy on like me, I'm completely aware like that might hurt opportunities that you have in the future with like my political views, whatever. Like I accept the fact I am far right. Fuck it. I did a little political test on myself. I am fucking far right. Cool. Mm-hmm. And you know, he strikes me more as like a libertarian. Mm-hmm. And you know, having guys on like me might hurt future opportunities, especially since I talk about certain things, cha-ching. So fine. But like, Like you, I don't know why the fuck he hasn't talked to you yet. Like that's fucking crazy.
Well, I'm not going to go on his show and start talking geopolitics or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, and
I don't even think he talks geopolitics.
I mean, if people are going to classify me, I'm probably more conservative than I am.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, he should definitely.
I eat pussy, but I would be a conservative, I suppose.
I'll say this, like, for me, I understand. I'm not even mad. Like, okay, I'm controversial, fine. But you, dude, there's no excuse. Like, you're like clean. Like,
I've been doing this for 20 some odd years.
Very empirical.
I think it's getting to the point where it's like odd that I haven't been. Right?
Yeah, it's weird.
If Tim Pool, I know, even when Tim Pool hit me up, I was like, really?
Because he brings these other people on. I'm like, who the fuck are these motherfuckers? Like, these random people.
When I went on with Tim, I was like,
come on, Chris. Come on, man. Bring Rollo on, bro. I'm controversial. I don't give a fuck, but bring Rollo on, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Crazy, dude.
Tim will give me a good bill of health for you.
Fucking incredible, man.
Yeah. Well, the thing
like,
is,
because you keep it empirical.
Well,
this is your niche. You've been doing it for a while. You know, probably one of the best blends of like the analytical data side while also simultaneously having contemporary data, real field.
One of the reasons he said he wouldn't bring me on. Well, remember I told you he did his like 500,000, AMA, right? One of the reasons he said he didn't want to bring me on is because he was afraid of losing half of his audience. Like if he brought me on, the chicks would like flee would jump. Like guys would probably love the show, but like women, because he appeals to. I mean, look at the dude, man. He was a male model and fucking was on Love Island in Australia or some shit like that.
That's what it is.
And yeah, I'm pretty sure that. But at least back then. But like right now, what's the excuse? I mean, they're not. If I went on your show, you go. Dude, we do fucking Access Vegas. You do your thing. Like, you think girls are gonna leave your fucking show?
You know what?
What have we said during the last 2 hours, 3 hours we've been doing this right now? Like that would make women.
You know what I've noticed from being in this world though, like making this kind of content is like, people are scared, bro. Like people like just are like fucking scared, man.
Well, they are. Well, you can't tell people information. You can't give them facts. You can't give them data without telling them how to feel about it. Because if you don't, they will hate you for it. Yeah. So if you tell them something, in fact, if you don't tell them, they will make up reasons why you are telling them. Yeah. They'll try to pretend like,
but dude, you don't
you're
like,
telling me
but,
this
but women don't hate you.
Like
I can see me. Cool. Yeah. Oh my God. Right. Like, but like, I don't see with you, like how he would lose female viewership.
Yeah.
Like,
I think you might be concerned. He might agree with me more than disagree with me on a lot of shit.
I don't know, dude. It doesn't make sense. Me, I understand. I'm far right. I'm crazy. You know what I mean? Whatever. But like you, like, dude, no, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all.
I'm just going to bring, all I do is bring facts to the table.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think you're probably one of the best. Because here's the thing. I like Dr. Bus, but he's a nerd. And he's not really in the sexual marketplace. Like, cool. He gives you like, human evolution and how it is and etc. It gives you like the kind of the mechanical functions.
He's an interesting interview.
Yeah. He gives you the mechanical functions, but how is he going to be able to apply that to the sexual marketplace today? Not really. When I watch his interviews, he has zero real world application examples to give. He'll talk about, mating, primates, all this bullshit, but he can't tell you like how that applies today.
I think what's interesting is like I get hate from these guys who I'm now calling like sort of like these gatekeepers of evolutionary psychology, like Alex from Date Psych or Mac and Murphy, or I mean, to a lesser degree, maybe even Dr. Buss, right? And the thing that I get the most is that one of the reasons like they sort of dedicate their fucking lives and their studies and everything else to like sort of like, debunk the red pill is because they don't like the interpretations that I do of the same data that they have.
Yes.
So if I go and I say, here's the data,
they probably feel like you're like muddying their work.
Here's the data. Of course. Here's the data. Here's the facts. Here's these things, right? There is data. And then there's interpreting the data.
Boom.
And what they don't like is the dots that I connect.
Yeah.
I think it was Nick Krauser, who is an old school PUA, and I've quoted him on a couple of my books. As a matter of fact, he's one quote that stuck in my head is he said that the last 15 years of pickup artistry has advanced our understanding of intersexual dynamics more than the last 150 years of psychology and social studies, because pickup artists don't have the same field restrictions of ethics and everything else. That if they're out there doing these experiments,
which is run by women data, now, the psychology board is all run by females,
90 some odd %. And then by the way, the teachers are below the age of 30 by 2030. Like it'll be something like 90% of teachers in psychology below the age of 30 by 2030 will be female. So if you can't tell me that there's not some sort of implicit bias in the research data and in the experiments and what they're getting funded and what the interests in the first place, you're full of shit. Okay. If it was like 50-50, then we might be able to have a discussion. But when we talk about like the crisis of replication in psychology, in the social sciences, even in the hard sciences right now, look no further than the implicit biases of those impacted the fields of science, right? And I will guarantee you, if you're looking at social studies or sociology, if you're looking at psychology, most of the students and most of the teachers in those fields are female. That is going to create an implicit bias in those fields. So, but the thing is even if I'm taking those data, I'm taking data from Steve Stewart Williams, from Rolf Dengen, from Dr. David Buss, Robert Trivers, certainly Marty Hazelton. I mean, Hector Garcia from Dr. Hector Garcia. I'm taking their data and I am just connecting dots that these guys are either unwilling or unable to do. Just like Nick Krauser says, the pickup artists didn't have the ethical limitations of those particular fields for the last 150 years. But in 15 years of Mystery Method and RSD and pickup artists and stuff, the data that's been collected in the field of like intersexual dynamics, guys going and getting dates, getting laid, whatever it is, has advanced our understanding of intersexual dynamics further than 150 years of sociology and psychology up to this point. And you tell that to one of these guys who's in their ivory tower as a evolutionary psychology gatekeeper, they don't want to fucking hear that, because you're trying to take you're trying to steal their thunder. You're trying to take away their fucking, their theater of war, right? And so when I'm collecting data and I'm making those distinctions and I'm connecting those dots, they don't want to answer the questions that those dots create when I make those connections, because in some way it's going to alienate them. And it's not enough for a psychologist to just be a psychologist, or a pastor to be a pastor, or an influencer. Everybody's got to be an influencer today. You can't just be a psychologist. You have to have a YouTube account. You have to have a book. You have to be making the rounds on Chris Williamson or whatever. You've got to be like, even if you look at if you look at a guy like Gad Saad, for example, evolutionary psychologist, knows his shit. What's he doing? He puts out a book, goes and makes a book tour, and runs around the country and does this thing. He's not doing office work. Jordan Peterson used to be a clinical psychologist. He hasn't seen a patient in fucking 15 years, right? We think of him as a clinical psychologist. He hasn't been in practice for a long time, right? So if you look at this, because he can't make money doing that. He makes money by selling books. He makes money at Daily Wire. He makes money by going and doing clips and videos and making his appearances and doing talks and TED Talks and everything else. That's where the money is, not in psychology. The doctorate is just gets you past the velvet rope. You have to be, you have to have a YouTube account. You have to have your socials. You have to have everything else if you're going to make any money and be in any way some sort of celebrity or some sort of personality online now. So, and I mentioned pastors as well. Like it used to be like certainly Christian pastors. You used to be, you just go to church on Sunday, deliver the sermon, and you go home, right? Mm-hmm. Now you've got to have YouTube. You got to have a blog. You got to live stream your worship service. You got to live stream the sermon. You've got a YouTube channel. You've got outreach. You've got all this other stuff going on. You're not a pastor anymore. You're an influencer that happens to be a pastor.
I just had an epiphany moment just now while I was listening to you speak. So why it's always great to talk to you. I figured it out. The academics. Mm-hmm. Right, the people that you mentioned, to include Jordan Peterson, etc. Because we've wanted to have Jordan Peterson on for a bit, mm-hmm. right? His daughter came on, etc.
It's more likely you'll go on Chris Williamson.
Yeah, of course. And a lot of these like psychologists, etc. You know, besides the fact that we're extremely controversial, like it's hitting me now. And there's two reasons. There's two things for this. So they do their analysis of female mating practices from a scientific academic standard, mm-hmm. and it stops there. Mm-hmm. She wants a leader of men. She wants a man that's physically strong and capable, a man that's confident, a man that's mm-hmm. ambitious, because these are all, provider values, security values, whatever. Mm-hmm. That's it. They just tell you what it is, right? Like you said before, mm-hmm. they don't interpret the data for you. Now, I think the reason why these psychologists and these clean cut intersexual dynamic creators like mm-hmm. a Chris Williamson, a Jordan Peterson, etc. The reason why they don't want to actually take that data and interpret it mm-hmm. is because you're going to come to the fucking conclusion. This is the thing with women, though, that I've noticed that like men don't suffer from this shit. If I talk about the dark side of male nature and the issues with male nature, guys are going to look at me crazy.
Yeah.
Like if I say guys are horn dogs and they want to fuck girls.
Oh yes, you're wonderful, Myron.
You can go ahead and talk about the dark side of male nature all fucking day. No one gives a shit. No guy's going to check you on it. No one. Yeah, you're right. There are fucking weirdos and losers, etc. But if I talk about the dark side of female nature, you're a misogynist. And here's the thing with these fucking pussy ass cucked academics, and that like this is all starting to connect now. Like. The problem with these academics is they need to still retain their female audience. And a lot of these guys are fucking psychiatrists, psychologists, etc. And they still want to be a part of the board. They don't want to get fucking kicked off. So what do? They stop at the academics. They don't go into application. They don't talk about any of this shit. They just say, this is what my study finds. And they don't go into any of the real prescriptions of what to do, because then they're going to be labeled a misogynist. Then they're going to look, Jordan Peterson barely passed the academic part and they wanted to take him off the board. So the problem now is that the psychology board, psychiatrists, whatever the fuck it is dominated by females. And women have a very difficult time with hearing the dark side of their own fucking nature. They don't like it.
Which is why they will steer research and experimentation away from anything, any kind of data that might imply that or in some way like back that up. It's
the pickup artists that really have the best, like you said before, in 15 years of pickup artistry has blown away the fucking psychology. Because here's the thing that these psychologists don't want to fucking admit. You fucking dickheads learn from the pickup artists that you're scared to fucking emulate.
Yeah. Or
that's
even
the
have
reality.
on your fucking show.
Yeah.
To
or have on your show. Yeah.
Yeah. To even talk about the other thing I've always said this too is like you take a guy who's like a psychologist, right? He's got his doctorate. Think about what that takes. You've got to go to like 8 years of school to do that. You've got to do your doctoral thesis. I don't know how much money is involved in like getting that education in the first place. Okay. Let's just say for sake of argument, you've got like student loans for that. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of investment, right? So you've got that. So you've got to go to you got to dedicate 8 years of your life to get that doctorate. You've got to go and then you've got to pay for it with your student loans. Then you get out. Then what do you got to do? You're going to go and be a clinical psychologist and you got to get a practice. Then you're going to have to go and get your certification. You're going to have to go and get your insurance, your malpractice insurance. You're going to have to pay for a practice. You're going to have to go buy a place to do it. So you're going to have a secretary, all this other shit. You look at the capital investment for one male or female individual to become a clinical psychologist, a doctor of clinical psychology. And you look at all the investment that goes into that, you're probably looking at about 10 years and a lot of fucking money. And you know what then happens? You go onto Twitter and you see John from MLD in a fucking bubble bath going, fuck all you guys. And he's got a bigger following than you. And then the last 4 years or 5 years that you've been fucking around in college, he's been making money hand over fist, talking to the same people that you would be your patients, that you would want them to, hey, I'm going to help these guys kind of thing. You get into that niche. Didn't matter because all you had to do was go and create your own Kajabi course, or you just got to be a good, interesting, entertaining individual. And you would have been able to have been more effective doing what John or me or anybody else has been doing for God knows how long. And meanwhile, now knowing that, and coming into Instagram, coming onto Twitter, coming onto YouTube and everything, I would say that would piss me off if I had put 10 years of my life doing the right thing.
I think me and you are both coming to this. I mean, you probably knew this already, but for me, I'm like kind of like thinking in my head, I'm connecting dots in my head. This is why the academics don't want to fucking talk to us, bro.
They resent us. That's why. Because we go where they won't go.
Yeah.
They can't or they won't.
We will take their data and interpret it correctly and dispense what guys really need, because they don't care about all this fucking monkey jargon shit like, oh, blah, 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 like, no, they just want, dude, what the fuck do I do? This is what you do. And what we're telling you is going to work because we have the real data and we're giving you advice. We're translating it into fucking English for the regular guy.
And even when they'll say, well, you got it wrong. You got the data wrong. I'll tell you the thing is, but we connected dots and we asked questions. And we ask the right questions. We ask questions that even if those are the wrong questions, we ask questions that you're unwilling to ask. And you won't go there. And because you won't go there, you will never be as effective as the people in the Redpill.
Yeah, you never will be. No. And the other thing too, academics in general is cocked. It's run by women now. Academia, especially higher education,
they're not going
finito.
There. They won't go there. They have no interest to go there.
Like the psychology board, run by women. Finito there too. So you can see why these guys are fucking scared to have conversations with us or anything, because, and then also for the guys that have a YouTube following, a lot of these guys, women love psychology. A lot of these guys have like maybe 50%. Now it makes sense why he might be scared. A lot of these guys have like half their viewership is female. So if you go ahead and you talk about this, stuff that's unflattering to female nature, it's going to put a lot of them off and piss them off because women don't handle the truth well. And I think, until recently, right? If you talked about this shit, like, no one was talking negatively. Like even like pickup artists, like they were still like somewhat nice about female nature. They will tell you like what you need to do or whatever. But like now we don't give a fuck. I tell girls that they're sluts. I say that they're dumb whores. Like, or like you gotta like, I look at men, I tell men all the time, one of the things I tell them is like you gotta treat her like an inferior, right? Because so many guys are stupid and they're so used to pedestalizing women that have to almost make it stupid proof for them. So I have to tell them, you're the fucking prize.
Well, and that's
she's the subordinate.
Even when you use,
she's inferior. You're the superior.
Even when you go over the top and you use language like that, it's necessary because if you don't, they don't hear it.
They don't hear it.
It's like I've said this before.
It's not enough to say don't pedestalize her. You got to say you're the superior. That sticks.
When you go to the casino that you're at right now, you're walking through the floor, right? What do you see? You see nothing but like video poker machines and video slot machines and everything. Wheel of Fortune, Buffalo, all this stuff is like it's just sensory overload, right?
Yep.
That is social media right now. That is YouTube, right? And so the only thing, because I come from a marketing background because I used to work for casinos. I was an art director.
Alcohol
as well. But when you're on the casino floor, there is no room for subtlety. You have to if you want to stand out, you have to have tits. It has to be on fire and it has to be red, and preferably red flaming tits. That is what will get attention on a floor, on a casino floor, right?
Yeah.
The same thing applies to YouTube. The same thing applies to Instagram, to Twitter as well. And sometimes you got to say this. She's just being a stupid bitch. That's red flaming tits in social media right there. If you say something that's over the top like that, people will remember that. And the reason why they will is because they've been so overloaded by sensory overload by being on social media and become so desensitized to shit. It takes you're a dumb bitch to get people's attention. Not because you're trying to be an asshole. You're just trying to grab attention and say, this is important enough that you need red flaming tits in front of your face. Otherwise, you're never going to see this in this morass of
that's what kind of sucks,
sound
because
and light.
To get the attention that's required to change men's minds and like deprogram them from the stupidity, you have to risk being so offensive that people won't platform you. Because like you're not an academic now. Like we've went into a realm. I think you could still swing it with them, but like me, I am not an academic whatsoever. I'm a fucking guy that literally just tells guys what it is, what it takes to be attractive. And I've dealt with a lot of girls. Like my late count's like 500 something. Like it is what, like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Like you put me in a room with these like academics, right, with a bunch of girls there, I'm gonna run circles around them because not only do I have their data points and know them, now I know how to actually interpret it and use it.
Best practices
in
that they'll never
a
do.
modernized sexual marketplace where women have 100% sexual autonomy and they have more options than ever before. And it's an ever-changing marketplace. Now you add in technology to it. You add in the ability for her to go ahead and change. These motherfuckers don't know what they're talking about.
You know why? Because they're specified. They're specified in one area. That's why. Like if I've been like run up the flagpole recently for like evolutionary psychology and stuff like that. I'm like, that's not just the red pill is not just dependent on evolutionary psychology. No. There is evolutionary psychology. There is evolutionary biology. There is anthropology, sociology, endocrinology, neuroscience, neurology. There is political aspects. There's religion involved in all of this. You think of all the ways and all the fields and all the subfields where intersexual dynamics reaches, and we have to have some kind of like working field knowledge of all. Like I'm not a fucking brain surgeon, but I do know that men and women's brains are architecturally different because I've read enough other people's data to make that something that I can go, okay, that kind of locks in with the fact that women want dark triad traits or
you
they're
mentioned
good at
politically.
Communications. Yeah,
like well, see, here's another thing, right? That these academics aren't going to fucking get. And me and you could talk about this forever, right? Like their stuff ends at the academic research ship. Let's talk about the political. It's 2020. There's been an explosion on traditional conservative women, right? Me and you both know it's a fucking scam.
Yes.
Me and you both know that they're going to regress back to feminism if they need it, right? So, depending on...
It's a good pivot before the end of the election.
Yeah, right? I'm seeing girls all over the place going MAGA 2024 and fucking, I want to be a trad wife and all this other shit. And we know that like the female sexual strategy, right, from the academics is to secure the best man that they can, right? And we know that, so that's the scientific side, the academic side. But we know that the reason why women are doing that in 2024, now we're able to take that knowledge and apply it today. Why are they doing that? Because they understand that men that are traditionally conservative Republicans typically tend to have more masculine traits, tend to want to be providers, tend to understand that they're masculine roles, and that's what women are looking for in a beta-fied, pussified America, where men tend to lean more left and think that things are more egalitarian. Can Dr. Buss or these other fucking idiots interpret that? No. They're not going to be able to tell you, yeah, these bitches on Twitter or on social media, or these women that are running around MAGA hats, etc., they're doing it as a part of a sexual fucking strategy. You really think they give a fuck about Trump? They don't even know any of his policies. They're doing it because they know, if I align with this tribe, I can find the man that I want, right? And I can go ahead and align myself with these guys, because these guys still have the traits that I'm neurologically wanting. They have these provider male traits, because I'm tired of dating these pussies that are on the left that are super liberal that think it's okay to split a fucking bill. And perfect proof of this, there was a woman from LA, like hipster bitch, short hair like this, super liberal. She was dressed like a fucking dude, whatever, that weird hipster shit. She admitted, yeah, I went out with this guy who's like a dude, bro, right? That's more like, that's conservative, whatever. And she was like, he paid for the bill. I was really attracted to him. I was like really shocked, etc. So on one end, and she was like surprised by it, but she was attracted to it. So on one end, she's told her she thinks that she's supposed to like this guy that's egalitarian, equal, whatever. But then she meets a guy completely fucking opposite, and she's aroused by him and actually is attracted to him. So that girl, right, is like in a weird loop. And she's an idiot. She might still go back with the egalitarian, whatever. The smart girls that are hot, that have higher sexual market value, picked up on this 2 years ago. Right? And they're already like, yeah, I want a guy that's more conservative, whatever. That's why you see these stupid TikTok bitches literally, yeah, I want a guy that's going to be a provider and take care of me, but I still want him to be like liberal. And everyone in the chat's like, you stupid bitch, whatever. Rightfully fucking so. But do you think these academics are going to be able to properly ascertain and come to the conclusion we just came to?
It's out of their wheelhouse.
It's out of their wheelhouse. Yeah. They can tell you, like, women, their sexual strategies to get the best guy that they can. But that's it, ends there. They can't explain to you why these bitches are all going MAGA. They can't explain to you like why these women are going ahead and getting with these like guys that don't align with them politically, but we can.
Yes.
And that's the difference.
And the minute they do, they align themselves with something ideologically, and then they're put in one tribe or one tribe or the other. That's why. So that's why I say they're either unable or unwilling. And usually they're unwilling, because the moment they say this is best practices, this is what we've discerned from all of this, then suddenly now their ideological bent becomes made aware. So people can start looking. I always say that, like, when I'm talking about certain aspects of, like, say, hypergamy, or if I talk about ovulatory shift, or I talk about dual mating strategy and things like that, I don't think it's going to be evolutionary psychology that proves evolutionary or ovulatory shift or dual mating strategy. It's going to be evolutionary biology. It's going to be hard sciences that are going to show that. And that's the thing, is like, so when people say, well, the red pill is dependent just on evolutionary psychology. No, I would say it's even more so on evolutionary biology, because if you look at like the way that, like,
and most importantly, what makes it so difficult and why these academics can't keep up is because you have all these things going on. And then you have the modernity of society. You have trends. Like right now, you have certain political years that affect things, right? That's why all these women are like, in the past 2 to 3 years, as we led up to this election year, I've seen an explosion in trad thoughts, right? You see trends, you see all this stuff. So like, it's very difficult for an academic to interpret all this information that's coming in rapidly, by the way, and be able to dispense proper advice on it. They just can't, because the research never can keep up with what's going on.
Well, and currently. Then they're only specializing in one field of psychology, right? Or one field that would comprise the red pill. Okay. So like when I say there is no,
and they can only do one at a time. And the reason why is because since they're researchers, they can't put too many variables into it, because then are the results legit? We don't know. Like,
right. Well, and then, okay. As far as research methodology and everything else, is even the data legit? That's a whole nother conversation. The fact is I think what happens is they want so badly to find some way to erase the red pill, to erase to debunk the entire reason for their research is to debunk the red pill. If that's not overt, not implicit, explicit bias, I don't know what the fuck is, right? So when I see stuff like that is explicitly like, even if they say, well, we did this as objectively as possible, but then during their explaining the research to, like, say, a Chris Williamson or something like that, well, it looks like those red pill guys were wrong, or if they were right, they try to downplay it and caveat it away, right? But the reason why they would even do that in the first place is because there is an ideological explicit bias that's already there. What do they accuse us of? Implicit bias. You guys will never listen to anything that's confounding to the red pill. No, we do all the time. And we also compare it not just to evolutionary psychology, but evolutionary biology, sociology, anthropology, endocrinology.
Variances in the girl. Like the one, every girl is different too.
Behaviorism. There's so many other things that go along with that. And that's the problem, is like that.
Some girls require more dark triad than other girls.
Evolutionary psychology is important. It is a keystone element, no doubt. But it only goes to one point, and then you've got other aspects and other fields. That's why I keep saying the red pill is not like, when people say, "What's the red pill, Rollo? Give me the elevator pitch of the red pill." You can't. It's a fucking college course, is what it is. It's a major. It's not a bumper sticker. Look, the red pill's just this, right? No, that's not what it is. It is all of those ologies, man. It's endocrino. And again, I'm not a brain surgeon. I'm not an endocrinologist. I'm not I'm not a fucking sociologist or an anthropologist or whatever, but I know enough about those fields where I can pull data points from those, and I can connect the dots between those data sets and say, this looks like a dynamic to me. What do you think? Okay. And just me saying, here's the data that I have, and what do you think? That means that I'm trying to convince you of something. Or again, what did I say? You can't give people data without telling them how to feel about it. If I've spent my entire life as a research, evolutionary psychologist, and some Yahoo with no degree, or certainly not in, evolutionary psychology, comes along and says, hey, I'm taking some of your data and I'm going to use some of your data and I'm going to correlate it with these data points that I have right here, you're going to be pretty pissed off, because you probably spent the last 8 to 10 years becoming a doctor in evolutionary psychology.
But here's the thing, though. So check this out. Let's say, hypothetically, we were go to a club, right? Mm-hmm. And Dr. Buss watched me go ahead and approach women and do certain things. Mm-hmm. He would probably say, okay, I see why you did that. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So like, I would exhibit behaviors, mm-hmm. and he would be able to tie it back to his data, mm-hmm. and be like, oh, okay, that makes sense why you did that. Okay, that makes sense. Here, you talked to this girl, then you went ahead and talked to this girl, then you brought that girl back to that group. Oh, wow, you're demonstrating social. He'd be able to like see, okay, I see what you're doing. But would Dr. Buss go ahead and be able to do that shit himself? Probably not.
Yeah,
wouldn't.
Well, there's a difference between research studies, like where you're putting out like questionnaires for people to say, do you strongly agree, somewhat agree, neutral, or disagree, blah blah blah. Like
theory and application are two different things.
That's one thing to go out there and I'm not saying that like qualitative data is completely useless. It's not. But the thing is a difference between filling out questionnaires and going out into the field and observing the gorillas in the mist, right? Yeah. Go like being Jane Goodall or Diane Fossey at I can go to Babes in Toyland and I'm sober, so I'm watching the humans in their natural habitat. Yeah. And is Diane Fossey and Jane Goodall's, is their research that they did over the course of decades, observational field work, is that less quality, less value than a questionnaire you do on Twitter? I think it's more valuable because you're there watching it happen live in real time all day long. So you're looking at field research versus experimentative research, which is, fill out this questionnaire and do you agree or strongly
nothing like
disagree?
These academics and these researchers, right? Like, go on, like it's completely different to like do research and be like, oh, blah, blah, and with control variables and shit. Mm-hmm. Go into a fucking nightclub at night.
Go into the field.
And then loud music. Fat friends trying to cock block
situational awareness.
Phones, them using their phones, making the right timing, figuring out, social, figuring out like looking at her body language. Is she here with other guys? Is she in a relationship? Okay, I'm looking at a group of people. There's 3 girls, 2 guys. Okay, that girl's single, that girl isn't. Like the academics can only go so far versus like a guy that's in the field. Dude, a pickup artist is gonna have way more application skill sets than an academic. And the beauty is this: if the academic were to watch the pickup artists doing what they're doing, the academic would immediately be able to say, oh, okay, this makes sense why he's doing that, etc. But if we flip the roles, the academic would not be able to do what the pickup artist is doing. because they're stiff in their academics.
Because they have
limited.
no field experience. They don't know exactly. They wouldn't be able to tell. They wouldn't be able to tell you what best practice or even suggest best practice.
Yeah.
There's a difference between theory and practice, right? So that's one of the reasons why I shy away from being too specific about prescriptions. I know you give prescriptions all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of people think I give prescriptions, and if I do, it's never directly. It's always it will be. It's like maybe it's a suggestion.
Here's a suggestion, yeah,
a suggestion, or
versus that's something you need to do this shit.
I look at it this way: it's equipping people, it's educating people, and you take that education and then you can use it and apply it to your specific situation.
And guys, get your questions here because we're gonna wrap up here soon.
Yeah, we gotta go because these guys gotta get out of here.
Oh shit, we do.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll read these chats real quick. Did you finish your thought on that though?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say.
I'll read these chats and then we'll close out. Shit.
Shout out to y'all for the effort you and Bills put in the show. Win Myron, win Rollo, win Bills. Oh, and don't forget, win Kyle.
Shout out to you, Kyle.
Producer Kyle.
What does that next one say? Oh, I can see it on screen. Okay. Ms. Race, hey Myron, I just got a rear-ended pause by a female. She went into this story on why she hit me in the freeway. To keep it short, she said she was hungry and she felt she was gonna die of hunger. I'm sick of this females. I can't drive, so I just recently ordered I feel like shirt from F&F merch. Keep with the great work. Myron's much. Damn, bro, you put a picture there too?
Yeah.
Damn, bro. Yo, is that a new feature that you could put the chats like that up from Couch Club? Yeah, that's like brand new, right? That's fucking
in
lit.
Rumbles, huh?
That's Rumble Studio, bro.
Studio. Oh, cool.
Oh yeah,
I saw this on Twitter.
Yo, real talk. I'm throwing that water
on Twitter.
I'm throwing that fucking water. I saw that shit on Twitter. Yo, bro, the average is 187 pounds, man. You know what I'm saying? Shaniqua's. Roberto says, glad you're talking to Rollo about the red pill. Kind of seems like F&F has moved away from the red pill. No, man, we still do on Wednesdays. And obviously the nighttime shows.
When he comes to Vegas, that's what we're talking about.
You know, so you guys got a good one here. So what else? Oh man. Okay. Them boys.
Well done.
Hey man, I'm gonna make it toys soon. Let me know if you're interested. I'm only doing 109. Yeah, okay, you fucking dickhead. I might have something big for you guys on Sunday. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Anything else? Oh, we need a Myron and Angie space on Twitter. Well, I'm banned. I can't talk on spaces right now. It's fucking FBAs. Free the Tates, dog catcher, okay. And then we got Ias says, went to Barnes and Nobles to get the Rational Male self-transformation section dedicated to witchcraft and drugs. W Rollo, Myron Rollo pod, and Mo in the back working hard. Mo ain't here. It's Bills.
Bills today. Bills pays the bills.
All right, thank you.
All right.
And then we got off topic, but I afford transit. Want to know that you have said in the past not to be, bro. What the fuck is this? Do you know how to write, nigga?
Come back after you're done with your ESL classes.
My reason to do is to build my credit. And I'll use it for my carpentry concrete company when I started. Thanks. Off topic, but I can afford it. I think he said his transit van. Yeah. Yo, if you're gonna do it, buy a transit van. Make sure it's 6,000 pounds or above.
Transit van down by the river
for your business. I don't know what you're saying, but I'm assuming what you're asking about buying a transit van. Make sure it's over 6,000 pounds so you can write it off and you have your LLC set up. Anything else?
That's
cool.
Us. Cool.
Rollo, where can people find you?
Oh, of course, you can find me on Amazon.com, not Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, you me too. You ain't gonna find our books on fucking Barnes and Noble.
My books are on Amazon.com. You can find all of them there. Just type in the Rational Male, you'll find them. You can also find me on Twitter. Obviously, I've been doing spaces, but I kind of like left it alone this week after fucking around.
Spaces are huge, man. I got banned, but we're gonna be back.
We'll be back. Well, yeah. Mike Sartain's been in Los Angeles. We're gonna be going to the Marquee Hotel for Swimsuit USA tomorrow. You and I, and that's a bikini contest. It's a big. I should say that it's a bikini pageant, is what it is. It's a larger. There's a lot of the difference between a contest and a pageant is a lot of money.
What time does it end?
Probably like 4.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 to 4, 1 to 5.
I'm gonna sleep
5
and see
maybe.
what time I can wake up.
5 maybe, but anyways, so I'll be doing that tomorrow.
I didn't sleep at all. So.
Access Vegas.
If anything, we'll go to the gym. Can you do gym at night?
I can do whenever you want. So,
okay.
Yeah. Right. Access Vegas will be return on the 29th, which is next Thursday, a week from today. So we got that coming back. And then what else we got going on? Oh,
when's the next time you're in Miami?
I don't know yet. I've been invited for a couple of things.
Dude, what are you doing?
Also, Valuetainment. I might be going out to Valuetainment.
Do it.
So because
Are you gonna do a PBA?
I'm a pretty big deal on Minect right now. I don't know if you what Minect,
Nice.
Minect
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
Minect is? Yeah.
Shit, I was supposed to get on there.
I'm actually in 3rd place on their Minect tournament right now. So if I
Nice.
can hold it till the end of the month, then I might make a trip out there. We'll see.
All right.
So, but yeah, and I did not know I was even in 3rd place in the tournament. But so Minect is really great too. So if you want to ask me questions like on the fly or whatever, you just look me up on Minect, MINNECT.com.
Nice.
And then you'll just look in for Rollo Tomassi, and I'm right there. I'm actually I'm in the middleweight division, so I shouldn't be too hard to find. But that's coming up. And then again, you can find me on Instagram, rational_male. And then of course I'm on Twitter as well, which is Rollo Tomassi @rationalmale.
Nice. Yeah. So guys, tomorrow I'm going to probably do, I'm going to have an interview with Dan Bilzerian, probably going to live stream it. And we did Hot Twins earlier. This is my 3rd stream of the day, bro. I've been filming for like 8 hours doing podcasts, running around. I'm dead, no sleep. Guys, go check out Rollo. Go support his work. Go get the book, The Rational Male. I don't know if you don't have it. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, it's by the way, it's on Amazon. It's on. You can get the print, you can get the Kindle, and it's on Audible as well. All 5 of them are. So.
Go get it, guys. And then you got to come to Miami, man.
Yeah,
you need to come. And then what else? I'm trying to think. There was something else I was gonna say, but
I usually make 2 trips to Miami a year, once in May and once in like November.
I've been out here to Vegas a bunch of times now.
Yeah,
I come here a lot. This is like the
we always get
my
you
second.
On. We always get you on.
Yeah,
somehow.
this is like my second city, man. I hate traveling, but every time a lot of people are here in Vegas.
Vegas is the West Coast hub for what we do.
It is. So. It is. Everyone's getting the fuck out of LA.
I'm glad me and Miguel came here when we did.
Yeah,
we got in early. So.
LA is fucking terrible. So, and it's still relatively cheap, man. When you guys tell me the rent prices, I was like shocked.
Yes.
So anyway, guys, here's Rollo Tomassi. Go check him out. Go get The Rational Male. Go subscribe to his YouTube channel. Check him out on Twitter. I am going to be probably tweeting some shit. Unplug FitX. Check me out over there. We're going to do Dan Bilzerian tomorrow, hopefully. Like I said, we're going to coordinate a time. His schedule's crazy, so no promises. But I think we're 80, 90% there with Dan. And love you guys. We'll catch you guys in the next episode of Fresh and Fit. Hopefully tomorrow we're grinding over here. Peace.